Chapter 581. At first, only a small number of people had their doubts, but one fan came up with solid evidence. She was originally a die-hard fan of pudding, but after being kicked out of the live stream by Di today, she was so angry that she became an anti-fan. She sorted through the old photos of pudding on her phone and wanted to delete them all, but she found something strange. There was a slight difference in the color of pudding's fur in the early photos and the current pudding. Not to mention passers-by, even the fans couldn't tell. If it weren't for her amazing observation skills, she probably wouldn't have noticed it. Thinking of pudding's size and the questions that Xiangqi had asked in the live stream today, she posted on Weibo, "Pudding's Aunt V, let's not talk too much. I'll just put up a set of comparison photos for everyone to find the difference." She posted the photos of the previous pudding and the current pudding. Pudding's Aunt V also had a lot of fans, most of whom were related to pudding. When they saw this set of photos, they were first shocked and suspicious, then angry and furious. It was because they realized that although the photos were similar, they were really two cats. When Di logged into Weibo again, what greeted her was not the adorable greetings of her fans, but an overwhelming amount of abuse. Where did the previous pudding go? People like you don't deserve to be an internet celebrity. You're more disgusting than trash. I'm going to vomit. Di blacked out and turned off her phone, trying not to look at those comments. Even so, those harsh words kept flashing in her mind. Trash, trash, trash. Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell. Di grabbed her hair and screamed. The one who really pushed Di into the abyss was the staff at the shooting of the snail powder commercial. They secretly revealed that Di had abandoned pudding on the set because she was sick and had no intention of coming back to claim it. The cat fans were so angry that they started cursing Di's ancestors. At this point, Di's reputation was completely ruined. At the shooting location of the commercial, the snow-white rice noodles were soft and smooth, full of elasticity, and the soup was delicious and unique. It was made with condiments such as snails, asparagus, and star anise. It was paired with sour bamboo shoots, peanuts, fungus, and a few pieces of fried tofu. Lastly, it was sprinkled with a handful of vegetables. After it was served, rice vinegar and chili oil were poured. Even through the screen, this scene was enough to make people salivate. The soft little white cat jumped onto the dining table and sat down. It tilted its head and looked at the gentle and clean girl in front of it. Xiangyi used her chopsticks to pick up some powder. The way she ate was not as crude as some food bloggers, nor was it like the aristocratic etiquette of a socialite, but it was inexplicably infectious. Watching her eat was a pleasure. Moreover, his stomach began to growl. This was the feeling of all the staff present. Xiangyi was very dedicated to her work. She finished the entire bowl of noodles. Her cherry lips were dyed red from the spiciness, and her clear doe eyes were watery. When she looked up at the camera, she smiled faintly. She was extremely beautiful. At first, Xiao Naofu complained that the food she ate was smelly, but it endured the humiliation and thought, for the sake of this stupid woman's money, this hoo-hoo will work hard to cooperate with her. However, as it looked at the soup, it really wanted to taste it, so it plunged into the soup that Xiangyi had left over. The bowl was too big, and it was too small. With a plop, the little kitten fell into the soup bowl. Its white fur was stained, and it looked confused. This accident made the director let out a fierce roar. "You're so cute!" Chapter 582. The crew on set desperately tried to stifle their laughter and pinched their thighs fiercely. Xiangyi couldn't help but laugh. She quickly scooped the kitten out of the bowl and wiped it with a wet towel. "I'll make do for now. I'll give you a bath when we get back." After all, Xiao Naofu loved cleanliness. Xiao Naofu secretly licked its paws, which were stained with the taste of the snail powder soup. When it tasted this unique and magical texture, the kitten's icy blue eyes instantly widened to their widest circle. "Meow." How could there be food in this world that was more delicious than the prawns cooked by this stupid woman? Xiao Naofu's reaction was completely recorded by the camera. In addition to calling it cute, the director was also very excited. Filming pets was a very difficult thing in itself, and all kinds of accidents could happen. For example, the pet didn't cooperate, or the pet's acting skills weren't up to par. Xiao Naofu's reaction was unexpected, but it was an unexpected surprise. Xiangyi's part of the shoot had already ended. He asked someone to take a few more shots of Xiao Naofu, but the director roughly cut the material and sent it to the brand's father. Within a few minutes, the brand's father sent a WeChat message. "More money. I want more money." "Huh? What did you say? More money?" Xiangyi, who had just removed her makeup, looked at Anan blankly. Anan chuckled. "Yes, I've heard of deductions, but it's really rare to see extra money. And they even doubled it. Why?" "The extra money is for Xiao Naofu. The brand's father is very satisfied with its performance." Xiangyi was stunned at first, then she burst into laughter and pinched Xiao Naofu's face. "Wow, our Xiao Naofu is so amazing. It can even earn money through its own labor." Xiao Naofu's eyes lit up when it heard that it could also earn money. While Anan went to get the car, it rubbed its little head against Xiangyi and gestured with its little paws to the shape of the tablet. Xiangyi was helpless. "You've been playing with the tablet a little too much recently. You're simply an internet addict." Xiao Naofu. "Meow, meow, meow. Okay, I'll let you play when we get back." Xiao Naofu was overjoyed. It wanted to go online. It wanted to buy a large cart of snail powder. From now on, it wanted to eat that delicious food every day, eating 2 packets for a single meal. "If I can't finish it, I'll just share some with little Shiji." The suddenly rich Xiao Naofu didn't even bother to sleep as it squatted valiantly in the back of the car, looking like a primary school student who had accidentally won the lottery. The manner. Xiao Naofu was the first to jump out of the car and clattered to the tablet. Its little paws skillfully unlocked the screen, and as it searched for snail powder to place an order, it suddenly realized something. It was so quiet. The little cat looked left and right. After waiting for a long time, it still didn't see that familiar figure. Where was that dog? Could it be that the devil Sure Sway had used it to make dog meat hot pot? The young best actor was reading a book in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. His long legs were slightly bent, and he looked focused and charming. Xiao Naofu pounced over and bit his trousers. "Don't mess around." The man's voice was low and magnetic. "Meow, meow, meow. Dog, return little Shiji to me." Seemingly sensing Xiao Naofu's abnormality, Sure Sway looked down and stared at its dirty fur. She frowned slightly and picked up the little cat with her slender fingers. She gently rubbed the back of its neck twice. "Why did you get yourself into such a sorry state? You're ugly and smelly. No one would want you for hot pot." Xiao Naofu. "Damn it, let's perish together." Chapter 583. The white and soft kitten was so angry that it wanted to bite someone, but Sure Sway easily grabbed the back of its neck. It was suspended in midair and could only flap its paws helplessly. Meow, meow, meow. The more Xiao Naofu thought about it, the more aggrieved it felt. Tears welled up in its eyes and fell with a thud. As soon as it cried, Sure Sway froze for a few seconds before letting go of the shackles and stroking the kitten's head gently. "Why are you crying, kitten?" Xiao Naofu made a vomiting expression, but it still couldn't stop its tears from falling. Sure Sway sighed, feeling a headache coming on. Apart from Xiangyi, he had never been good at coaxing other creatures to cry. After thinking about it, he threatened with a sullen face, "If you cry again, I'll kiss you." That sentence was more effective than any comfort. Xiao Naofu forced its tears back, but it looked even more aggrieved. It looked in the direction of the cat villa, where the mutt would usually sleep, but now the fluffy nest was empty. It was as if little Shiji had never existed. Sure Sui followed its line of sight and understood what was going on. Xiang Feng has been free recently, so he brought little Shiji home to raise it. Don't worry, although he's a little unreliable, he still dotes on cats and dogs. Speaking of which, he was the one who picked up Xiao Naofu. Turns out that mutt wasn't caught and eaten. Xiao Naofu heaved a sigh of relief. It suddenly felt embarrassed and wiped its tears with its furry paws, jumped off the sofa with its buttocks raised, and continued to play with its tablet. However, the games it usually liked to play, watch Mukden shows, and shop around were suddenly meaningless at this moment. After playing for a while, Xiao Naofu lay on the ground and wagged its tail in boredom. If only that mutt was here. It would lick my fur, act as a meat cushion, and even give up its favorite canned beef. Some time passed. Xiao Naofu, it's time to take a shower. Xiangyi's gentle voice sounded, but Xiao Naofu was still listless. Meow. Huh. Xiangyi pushed the tablet to it. Ever since Xiao Naofu learned how to type, communication between the two had become much easier. Xiao Naofu pressed the screen with its paws and asked, "When will little Shiji come back?" That might not necessarily be the case. Why don't I send you to little uncle's house to stay for a few days? Xiao Naofu shook his head solemnly and typed, "If this Huhu leaves, who will protect you, stupid woman?" Seeing this, Xiangyi's heart warmed. She hugged Xiao Naofu and kissed it several times. "Xiao Naofu, why are you so cute?" Meow. Don't use cute to describe this Huhu. Use fierce? Okay. Xiangyi was amused by its serious look. She lowered her head and sent a message to her uncle. Evening. The live stream started. Xiao Naofu squatted on the steps, gazing at the setting sun with melancholy. Looking out of the floor-to-ceiling window in the living room, he could only see a small round head with 2 drooping ears. She looked very listless. Li Jianyu specially found a camera position to film it, and the fans in the live broadcast room were all melted by its cuteness. From today onwards, I'm a cat fan. I'm going to bite such a cute kitten. Adorable, brainless, happy, brainless. Until woof, woof, woof. When it heard the familiar bark, Xiao Naofu's ears immediately stood up. At the door, little Shiji was running towards it merrily. In the next second, Xiao Naofu jumped down the steps and ran towards little Shiji. Chapter 584. The sunset glow was gorgeous and magnificent. The cat and the dog ran in both directions. Many viewers couldn't help but smile in front of the screen. This is so cute. The 2 short legs are running towards each other. It's so touching. I actually cried watching this. It's so beautiful. Everything is soft and peaceful. Whoosh, the little cat and the Shiba Inu met successfully. Woof. Meow. Woof, woof. Meow, meow. The cat and the dog barked at each other a few times, after which little Shiji excitedly pounced on Xiao Naofu and kissed it while licking its fur. Meow, meow. Xiao Naofu protested twice, but soon narrowed its cat eyes in comfort. Its whiskers trembled, and a low purr overflowed from its throat. In the living room, Xiangyi and Sure Sui were drinking tea and reading a book. Upon sight of this scene, the 2 looked at each other and chuckled silently. In the live stream, the fans began to make fun of them. Cat porn? Children shouldn't watch such intimate scenes. Otherwise, yellow horns will grow on their heads. Chow Beanbag, Xiao Naofu and little Shiji are of different species, but they have the same gender, right? Is this really okay? The atmosphere was harmonious. However, there were also some who argued, little Shiji is a pedigree dog. while Xiao Naofu is just a mutt. They're not compatible, right? Such comments were now ignored in the live stream. However, some netizens quickly took a screenshot and posted it on the Melon forum. In addition to the ha 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 ha, all kinds of idiotic netizens came out and seriously discussed the topic of this cat and dog mismatch. Come on, our Xiao Naofu is a young master who led a wandering life, okay? Little Shiji is just a hedonistic son of a wealthy family. Xiao Naofu is very popular. Some Little Shiji fans should stop saying that your cat is outdated. Has it ever been popular? Hee hee. No way, no way. What era is it now? Why are you still calling it a mutt? Our Xiao Naofu is clearly a noble Huaxia mutt. You may think it's a mutt, but we don't think it's a mutt. All of a sudden, the drama queens went online and began arguing on the internet. Meanwhile, the company behind Dai did not give up. Although the account could be refurbished and the person could be changed, they still decided to squeeze the last bit of value out of Dai's account. At 7:30 p.m., Dai's account posted a long post on Weibo claiming that Xiangyi was using her popularity to bully others and that she had made Xiao Naofu replace Pudding in the commercial. After this Weibo post was posted, Dai's account opened a tipping function. Some netizens who had just started to gossip believed it and tipped Dai a lot of money. However, with the old fans' explanation, the netizens who were new to the topic suddenly woke up. What? Dai was actually so disgusting. Not long after this Weibo post was posted, Xiangyi's Tomato Entertainment and the economic team, led by Si Chuanbai, immediately retaliated. Si Chuanbai also bought Aunt Pudding's Weibo post to become a trending topic. This pudding is not that pudding hashtag. Many people thought it was food and clicked in out of curiosity. They were shocked by Dai's actions, purposely fattening the cat and letting it die when it couldn't take it anymore, then changing to a new cat to deceive the fans. And all of this had something to do with the company behind her. Countless netizens were disgusted. Dai and her company had tasted the consequences of their actions that night. However, the wonderful thing was that various cute photos of Xiao Naofu suddenly spread on the internet. Chapter 585. For example, it tilted its head and acted coquettishly, acted like a little green tea, or held a milk bottle, and drank goat milk powder. In this era of cat fucks, countless cat lovers felt the depths of their souls trembling when they saw these stickers. Ow! It's a cat. It's a cute cat. Cats are the cutest creatures in the world. In an instant, Xiao Naofu's stickers surpassed the popularity of Fu Jian's silly stickers and became the top sticker in the world. Everyone who didn't have a few cute Xiao Naofu stickers would be too embarrassed to call themselves a new generation surfer. In the beginning, some netizens thought that Xiao Naofu was an internet celebrity cat, but after learning more about it, they realized that Xiao Naofu had a live stream program. It was simply a celebrity cat. On this day, the live stream of Two Under One Roof welcomed a new, huge stream of traffic. Their competitors were dumbfounded. After a long time, a program would accumulate loyal fans, but at the same time, it would lose its novelty and viewership rate would become lower and lower. However, Two Under One Roof was simply amazing. Not only did it start at the top, but it could also attract more traffic. Sure Sway's career fans, girlfriend fans, and wife fans, Xiangyi's face fans, foodie fans, mother fans, and milk powder fans. Now, even a muddy cat had its own fan base. It even opened its own cat Weibo account. Countless people were in awe. There were also many industry professionals who felt that they could create a program that was more popular than Two Under One Roof. For a time, major television stations and video websites began to prepare for live streaming variety shows. In the next few months, new programs popped up like mushrooms after a rain. Over the next few days, Xiangyi filmed advertisements for hand sanitizer and women's clothing. The filming went smoothly. However, the brands put forward an additional condition. At first, Anan was shocked to hear the other party's request. What? Sign a contract with Xiao Naofu? Are you sure it's not Sure Sui? The brand representative smiled slightly to show politeness. Yes, Nan murmured. Is Sure Sui really past his prime? The brand representative was speechless. What misunderstanding do you have about Sure Sui's popularity? It wasn't that they didn't want to hire him, they couldn't afford it. Sure Sui rarely took on endorsements, but she was deeply doted on by the fashion industry and received all kinds of sponsorships. However, apart from a few top luxury brands, there weren't many brands that could afford to hire Sure Sui. All in all, Xiao Naofu had two more sources of income. The little milk cat had transformed into a working cat and was very cooperative during every commercial shoot. Xiangyi even opened an account for it and transferred all the income into it. Xiao Naofu would squat in front of the tablet every day and indulge in shopping. Apart from the snacks, toys, and game consoles that he liked, he also bought a lot of things for little Shiji. Xiao Naofu had been trending for several days in a row, and a pet blogger secretly used a small account to complain. Sometimes I really can't help but sigh at the magic of fate. No matter how hard you work, you might as well be reincarnated into a good family. I don't mean anything else. I just feel sorry for our big cat. After putting in so much effort, it can't even compare to a little mud cat, many people echoed. That's right, that's right. What's the use of working hard? In this day and age, not only do humans have backers, even cats have backers. All of a sudden, Happy Snails fans V, thank you Xiangyi V Xiao Naofu, the most adorable V, for filming the little wonderful commercial. I hope you, who are on Weibo, will eat well whether you're alone or with someone. Take a sip of the powder and be happy. Chapter 586. The accompanying video was shot by Xiangyi and Xiao Naofu together. When Anan saw this Weibo post, he projected the advertisement onto the TV and pressed the pause button. He then pulled Xiangyi and Sure Sui to watch it together. Xiao Naofu meowed a few times and acted coquettishly. Xiangyi's heart softened, and she hugged the kitten in her arms. Little Shiji stared at Xiao Naofu eagerly. Perhaps knowing that it was inconvenient to be carried because of its large size, it rubbed itself against Sure Sui's trousers and lay on the ground to watch the TV obediently. Anan was speechless. Xiang Feng had also been living in the manor recently, but as a domineering CEO, he would work until 5 in the afternoon even if he had nothing to do. This was the stubbornness of Xiang Feng. Without Xiang Feng around, Anan suddenly felt that he was quite redundant. It just so happened that it was time for the live stream to start today, so Li Jianyu decided to start the live stream in advance and broadcast Xiangyi's advertisement. Live stream viewers, there's such a thing? After hashtag watching a live stream in the live stream room hashtag, there's another hashtag watching an advertisement in the live stream room hashtag. Ha ha ha. Director Li really dotes on Sister E too much. He's so worried about Sister Yi's career that he doesn't forget to promote Sister E at all times. Xiao Naofu is sitting on Xiangyi's lap and swinging its little legs around. Nanny, hurry and cast a healing spell on me. I'm going to pass out sob. Birds of a feather flock together. Xiao Naofu sticking to Sister E means that Sister E is as cute as a cat. Little Shiji sticking to Sure Sui means that of a family of 4. Sure Sui is the most adorable. Amidst the comments of the audience, Anan pressed the play button with the remote control. The scene started with an empty shot, then moved past the dream catcher by the window, the cactus in the room, and the magazine in the book. Then it naturally turned to Xiangyi. The girl knelt on the tatami. Her purple sweater was gentle. She slowly opened the packaging of the rice snail powder. The kitten at her feet was playing with a ball by itself. When it heard the sound of the packaging being torn, it curiously leaned over to smell it. The smell made the kitten's face change color. Then, it was a set of food scenes. Xiangyi cooked the snail powder until it tasted like hua country on the tip of her tongue. Watching her cook was a kind of immersive enjoyment. When she scooped the rice snail powder into a bowl, sprinkled it with white sesame seeds, and sprinkled it with chili oil and rice vinegar, Anan couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Wasn't this too good? When Xiao Naofu smelled the smell, its cat face wrinkled even more. It held its salted fish toy in its mouth and ran far away from Xiangyi. When Xiangyi ate, it would bite the salted fish. When it got tired of playing, it would lie down on the hammock with its head facing the sky, and its eyes squinted. It would then snore comfortably. Xiangyi ate the rice noodles while Xiao Naofu snored contentedly. It was a stark contrast, but at the same time, it was also a silent echo. There was no need for too much narration, but it made one think of a word: beautiful. When Xiangyi finished the last bowl of rice, Anan couldn't help but unwrap the snacks on the table and stuff them into his mouth. Shui coughed and said, "You seem to be eating little Shiji's jerky." Nan was dumbfounded. Xiao Naofu protested, "Meow, it's mine," although it was bought for little Shiji. At this moment, Xiao Naofu, who was in the advertisement, couldn't hold back its curiosity. It first squatted on the table and tilted its head curiously before sticking its buttocks into the bowl. Plop! Xiao Naofu fell into the big bowl and looked up at Xiangyi in confusion. It licked its paws and widened its eyes. Xiangyi couldn't help but laugh. The scene froze at the moment when the girl and the cat looked at each other. Chapter 587. The camera faded out, and the Happy Snails logo popped up, along with the inscription of the advertiser this time: "You have to eat, well, even if you're alone." It was Xiangyi's voice. It was soft and clear, like a little sister next door exhorting in his ear. The advertisement came to an abrupt end. Anan, on the other hand, was still unsatisfied. The TV screen went black for a few seconds before he smacked his lips. "This advertisement is so well shot, I'm so hungry." In the live stream, the fans were all shouting, "Where's the link? I want to buy it." Xiangzi, large grass planter, "I'm so hungry." Sister cooks and eats the noodles. And so, do I win? Xiao Naofu licks its paws. On Weibo, the comments section of the Happy Snails fans' official Weibo account exploded, and the number of comments was increasing rapidly. "Aha! Who can buy that little stock? Increase the stock. Are you there? I have a friend who has a terminal illness and wants to eat a bowl of your snail noodles before she dies. Can you ship it to me as soon as possible?" Damn, which smart little guy in your company thought of getting Sister E to be the spokesperson? Even my grandmother, who's in her 60s, told me to buy her some snail noodles. +1. All the aunties in my family said that they want to support Sister Yi's work and have already reserved a box each. So the question is, where am I going to buy so much for them? Smile, smile. The headquarters of the Happy Snails fans was in a mess. In addition to the snail noodles that were selling well, even the sales of hot and sour noodles and chicken soup noodles, which usually didn't sell that well, had soared. The offline distributors kept calling to place orders, and the landline in the office kept ringing. The senior executives were both happy and worried. Considering Xiangyi's popularity, they had already taken measures to deal with it. They didn't expect that they had still underestimated Xiangyi's ability to sell goods. After some discussion, the senior executives combined the factory's production volume and daily sales volume and put up a link to the pre-sale of 100,000 packets. The link had only been up for a second. It was taken off the shelves. Everyone was speechless. It was sold out just like that. Everyone refused to believe it and asked the technician to put up a link to the pre-sale of 200,000 packets. Whoosh! 1 second. It was taken off the shelves again. Everyone. The executives were all thumping their chests and stamping their feet. In the past, when they looked for celebrities to endorse their products, they were worried that they would not be able to make money from it. But now, what they were worried about was that Xiangyi's ability to promote products was too strong. Their production capacity couldn't keep up. The feeling of not being able to earn money when it was right in front of his eyes was too unbearable. The upper echelons of the very happy snail fans fell into sweet trouble. Meanwhile, eating well for all 3 meals also followed the example of 2 under 1 roof and started a live stream. They didn't limit themselves to Xiangyi's agricultural products. They had a rich selection of products and even invited the second brother, Hao Han, from the live broadcast room. However, Zhuo Yi's reputation had already collapsed, and Jiang Yun thought of herself as noble and virtuous. The two of them were not even familiar with the products, so they could only read the script dryly. Coincidentally, there was also snail powder among the products they were carrying today. Link on 321. After Hao Han shouted at the top of his lungs, he felt that his throat was about to smoke. Today was the most tiring day he had ever been in the live streaming industry. However, Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun did not know how to continue the conversation, nor did they know how to find a topic to talk about. Giving him some time to rest, they only asked, "How many sales are there? Has the inventory been sold out?" The staff told him, "More than 50,000 copies have been sold now." Hao Han was quite satisfied. That was much better than his usual sales. However, he heard Jiang Yun say in disbelief, "What? That's all? Is the streamer you found good or not?" Chapter 588. "I don't think so." Zhuo Yi frowned. "It's too unprofessional. My ears hurt from all the noise." Hao Han's mouth was dry. "I can't F*King do it. I think you can't F*King do it." No matter how much he cursed in his heart, Hao Han still had to put on a fake smile. "Ha ha, men can't say no. After all, I'm the world's loudspeaker. Why don't I turn off the mic for 5 seconds?" The originally stiff atmosphere eased a little. Before the fans could react, Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun sneered at Hao Han. The two of them thought that it must be because Hao Han's data was exaggerated. After all, Yan Kaikai, who worked with Xiangyi last time, had sales of at least 100,000 units. In comparison, the two of them had such a high status, but they only sold so little. It was probably their fans who bought it. "Why don't you just turn off the mic until the end?" Jiang Yun retorted. Her EQ was not high. After she won the title of Queen of Songs, she did whatever she wanted. Those who liked her often praised her for her true nature. Those who didn't like her directly slandered her. Look, Xiangyi is not even a professional streamer, but she can still sell hundreds of thousands of bags. Zhuo Yi was absent-mindedly playing with his phone when he saw the trending topic hashtag 300,000 bags of snail powder in 2 seconds hashtag. He clicked on it and was surprised to find that the person selling the goods was Xiangyi. Hao Han, who had been holding back his anger, completely exploded. "Okay, then you two can continue. I won't disturb you anymore." He got up, turned off the mic, and left with a dark face. The staff at the scene were all dumbfounded. The director was the first to come back to his senses. He quickly asked someone to persuade Hao Han and kept winking at Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun, hoping that the two of them could salvage the situation. However, the two of them felt that without Hao Han, they could still sell the goods, so they started to introduce the next product. The director was speechless. He had seen confident people, but he had never seen such confidence. The director sighed, helplessly. He had no choice but to let the two of them continue to sell the goods live. After Zhua Yi finished introducing the product, Jiang Yun shouted exaggeratedly, "Don't miss it! Buy, buy, buy! Buy it! Link it!" The technician quickly connected the link to the live broadcast room. Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun were not good at interacting with the audience, so they seemed a little cold. After a few seconds, the two of them couldn't help but be concerned about the sales volume. "How much?" The staff member looked at them cautiously and stammered. How? Zhui asked expectantly. "Tens of thousands." The product they were promoting this time was a high-end red wine. Its unit price was the highest among the selections tonight. The staff member's scalp went numb. Jiang Yun had a bad premonition and said a conservative number, a few thousand. Although a few thousand wasn't much, it was still acceptable considering the high price per unit. Unexpectedly, the staff member said cautiously, "Hundreds of bottles." In fact, the actual sales volume was only slightly more than 100 bottles, and he had even misreported it a little. Zhua Yi. Jiang Yun was speechless. When they heard this number, both of them revealed an incredulous expression. How was this possible? Could it be that the best actor and best singer combined couldn't compare to that extremely noisy streamer? However, online shopping websites now had real-time sales figures. #Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun's live broadcast flop hashtag quickly became a trending topic. The dazzling 100-plus sales figure instantly became the laughingstock of the entire internet. Chapter 589. At first, some netizens thought that the trending topic was a prank. Is this reverse marketing? How is that possible? There must be a few zeros behind 100. Come on, one is an award-winning actor, while the other is a pop queen. It's obvious that they can't sell so little. It must be a marketing tactic by the merchants. Yes, kick me if there's a follow-up. Some practical netizens went to verify it and found that the sales figures were real. In other words, although these two were famous, they were really not good at marketing. The netizens were speechless. This is too confusing. Are celebrities not as good at marketing as internet celebrities? I remember Yen Kai also live-streamed this brand of wine. Although it was a little expensive, he sold thousands of bottles at that time. These two have lost their integrity. It doesn't seem appropriate to use this word, but 100-plus sales figures are indeed. When Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun's team discovered the trending topic, they hurriedly spent money to remove it. However, it would have been fine if they didn't remove it, but once it was removed, it poked at the netizens' gossipy souls. What did this mean? Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun were guilty. In other words, their live stream had really failed. The number of online discussion posts increased rapidly, and there were also countless fans who were dissatisfied with Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun's attitude. During the live stream, Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun were half-heartedly introducing their products, stuttering and dissing how. They edited it and posted it on Weibo. When the netizens saw it, they were instantly delighted. This is awesome. Zhua Yi and Jiang Yun had never appeared on variety shows before, and they thought that they could do anything because of their high status. However, they didn't expect that the internet was so advanced now and information could spread quickly. It was no longer the era where they could only buy discs and cassettes for songs. Any words and actions of celebrities would be infinitely magnified. The previous live stream was fine as there was a script, and the two of them just had to follow it. Coupled with the fact that they had many loyal fans, they could muddle through. However, the marketing live stream was different. The pace was fast, and the requirements for adaptability were high. There was no script to speak of, and the shortcomings of the two were completely exposed in an instant. My whole family, Zhua Yi and Heavenly Queen Zhang's EQ is too worrying. Do they not know about Vast's abilities? Although she's an internet celebrity, she's also made over 100 million in sales. I watched the entire live stream, and I feel like ZY and JY are the kind of people who are full of confidence. They act like they are the best in the world. I just want to say, the times have changed for adults. Mockery was everywhere on the internet, giving Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun's team a headache. What was even more troubling was that there were still many products that had not been introduced in tonight's live stream. It was still fine with Hao Han around. Now that Hao Han was gone, no matter how loud the two amateurs shouted, the effect was minimal. In the resting room, Hao Han looked at the live broadcast on his phone and sneered. Did they really think that live streaming was a competition of who was louder? How laughable! The program crew begged again and again, but Hao Han remained unmoved. He wasn't the one who broke the contract. It was the two people who chased him away. Then let the two of them do a live broadcast. After all, if they lost money, the merchants would definitely not let this matter rest. The most ruthless thing is always capital. Sure enough, after the live broadcast ended, all the scandals about Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun on the internet were suddenly dug up. Chapter 590, for example, Zhuo Yi had broken Shi Sui's ribs and other people's ribs in the name of filming. For example, Jiang Yun seemed to be aloof from worldly affairs, but she was actually a spoiled brat when she was young. Back then, Zhuo Yi had cheated on his fiancée and married her. The scandal between the two of them caused a huge uproar, and the team was extremely busy. Hao Han had long expected this outcome. For tonight's live stream, the merchants had already paid at least hundreds of thousands of yuan, especially the high-end red wine brand. With the sales of the previous live stream in Yankai, they were full of confidence in tonight's live stream. They spent more than 1 million yuan on the live stream, not to mention the promotion fee for Zhuo Yi and his wife. In the end, the two of them only sold more than 100 bottles, which was a huge loss for the merchants. They definitely couldn't get the money back, but who didn't know how to create scandals to disgust others? That night, countless old scandals about Zhuo Yi and Jiang Yun were dug up and shared by netizens over and over again. In contrast, the snail powder brand endorsed by Xiang Yi had released a total of 5 waves of pre-sales, and the delivery date was as long as 3 months. Even so, there were still countless people who placed orders, and there was even an industry chain that acted as a purchasing agent. The cumulative sales volume was more than 1 million bags of snail powder. That number made countless brands drop their jaws in shock. All of a sudden, countless advertising offers were sent to Xiang Yi's management team. The Spicy Tutu brands were rather proud, and they all posted their order records on Weibo. My favorite sister, E, my favorite snail powder, has snatched the first wave of pre-sales. Happy. I'm crying tears of joy. I've snatched the spot. It's spot. I asked the customer service, and they said that it will be delivered tomorrow. I've successfully gotten the same brand as Xiang Yi's. I just went to count. The cumulative sales volume of the snail powder endorsed by Xiang Yi has exceeded 1 million today. Our baby is so awesome. Proud face. I've placed an order for 50 packets to support our baby's career. Jiang Yun was already in a bad mood because of the scandal, and when she saw Xiang Yi's high sales volume on Weibo, she was even more infuriated. She immediately reposted it and commented, "Who knows if it's fake sales volume?" She was still not satisfied. She reposted 2 more comments. There are many people who buy things like snail powder. How much can she bring by herself? Technology is so advanced now. Can a programmer write a program and change the sales volume? Do you really think we're fools? After she finished typing, Jiang Yun felt that her depressed mood had relaxed a lot. She even complained to Zhuo Yi, "This sales volume, one look and you can tell that it's inflated." Xiang Yi was just an 18th-tier actress. Just her? Ha! She was just born into a good family, and her family paid for her. But in the next second, His phone rang, and the screen indicated that it was his agent. Jiang Yun answered, "What's the matter?" The agent's anxious voice came through the receiver. "Are you crazy? Look at what you've done. Hurry up and delete the things you posted on Weibo. Quick." Jiang Yun said indifferently, "What's wrong with me saying a few words on my alternate account? Don't I have some freedom of speech?" "What smuff? You are using your own account. Your main account." Bang! Jiang Yun's fingers trembled as she opened Weibo, as if a thunderbolt had split open a deep ravine in her mind. She finally realized that she had forgotten to switch to her alternate account. In just a minute or two, there were already more than 1,000 comments. Jiang Yun's vision suddenly turned dark. Chapter 591. She hurriedly deleted the Weibo post, but unfortunately, she was deceiving herself. In this short period of time, the Weibo post she had posted had already been screenshotted and saved by countless people. It was now circulating wildly on the internet. Netizens were gossiping fervently. "Wow, I bet 50 cents that she'll come out and explain that her account was hacked. Oh my God, Jiang Yun is actually such a person? I really couldn't tell. I'm dying of laughter." She and her husband only managed to sell more than 100 bottles of red wine, while Sister E sold more than 1 million. The comparison is obviously infuriating. 20 minutes later, Jiang Yun bit the bullet and posted a public relations document that her team had come up with for her. Jiang Yun copy the following content. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use public relations resources. My phone was accidentally taken away by my assistant just now, and she posted those inappropriate words. I've already fired my assistant. I'd like to apologize to everyone." She clapped her hands. As soon as the Weibo post was posted, the comments section became a sea of joy for netizens. "Ha ha ha ha, Jiang Yun is my source of joy today. Dear, I suggest you delete the first few words. Isn't this too perfunctory? Putting aside the fact that the script was written by someone else, is it that difficult to Xiangyi? I don't see any sincerity at all." Even though Jiang Yun reacted and deleted the first few words, it was too late. Within a day, she had embarrassed herself consecutively, and her image in the eyes of the netizens instantly collapsed. On the other hand, Xiangyi received a red packet from Happy Snail fans. The other party claimed that it was money for Xiao Naofu. Nan got a great shock when he saw the amount. Brands would often send red packets to express their gratitude if they were satisfied with their endorsers. However, it was rare to see someone as generous as Happy Snail fans. However, it's understandable. Nan sighed. This brand is now completely established. The long-term influence of a brand was more important than short-term sales. Xiangyi transferred all the money to Xiao Naofu. Xiao Naofu was watching cartoons on his tablet. When he saw the news on the notification board, Xiao Naofu thought to himself, "In the future, can I rely on this family to earn money to support that stupid woman and little Shiji? As for that bastard Shui, he was not worthy." At this moment, Xiang Feng's loud voice came from the living room door. "Xiao Naofu, little Shiji, I'm back. Did you guys miss me? Mimi, Zuo, come give me a hug." Xiao Naofu glanced at him in disgust, covered its ears with its little paws, and began to pretend to be deaf. Little Shiji rushed towards Xiang Feng's feet and spun around twice in exchange for a canned meat. Xiang Feng thought that he could pet the dog, but as soon as he reached out, little Shiji picked up the canned food with its mouth and left. It then wagged its tail and handed the canned food to Xiao Naofu. Xiang Feng. They were quite affectionate with cats and dogs. "Little uncle, you're back." Xiangyi closed the book in her hand, blinked, and asked, "Are you hungry? Is there anything you want to eat?" Xiang Feng touched his stomach and said, "I want to eat some garbage." Xiangyi made an okay gesture and said, "Arrange it." Xiang Feng followed her into the kitchen, and while helping her, he told her about his encounter a few minutes ago. There was an old woman who showed her back and wanted to hitch a ride with me. The netizens who were watching the live stream immediately became interested. Isn't this the beginning of a domineering CEO novel? To their surprise, Xiang Feng's next sentence was, TSK, that back was so white and shiny. It's a pity you didn't use cupping. Chapter 592. The Netizens. Cupping? What kind of steely man is this? F***CK. I thought it was a domineering CEO novel, but it turns out to be an idiot novel. Everyone was complaining, thinking that Xiang Feng was beyond redemption. To their surprise, Xiang Yi chimed in, acupuncture should be good too? It's easy to find acupoints. The netizens. Huh? Is this the legendary saying, if you're not a family, you won't enter the same house? Sorry, my head is falling off from laughing. Please don't push. Don't step on my head. A cupping and acupuncture. Awesome. You two must be the spokespeople for healthcare. Thumbs up. Qin Wanyan, who had seen this conversation, was so angry that she started coughing violently. She had been waiting near the Xiang family's manor for several days, all for the sake of bumping into Xiang Feng. With the help of the little system, she managed to avoid the surveillance cameras and security guards. Today, she even managed to talk to Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng had parked his car by the side of the road to smoke, afraid that the smoke would irritate his little niece. Qin Wanyan thought to herself, God is on my side. She lifted the hem of her dress and rushed forward. In order to seduce Xiang Feng, she wore a silver halter dress with a slit that reached her thighs and exposed her back, revealing a little bit of her body. Sir, may I ask if I can hitch a ride with you? After several encounters and frantic investigations, Qin Wanyan learned that Xiang Feng had face blindness and couldn't remember people's faces. So she didn't think it was a big deal that she had embarrassed herself before. After all, Xiang Feng couldn't recognize her at all. Unexpectedly, Xiang Feng had only said 2 sentences to her. The first sentence, there's a taxi 10 kilometers ahead. Sister, you're wearing so little. You'll get cold. Go do cupping and moxibustion when you have time. After saying that, he calmly put out the cigarette but in the temporary ashtray made of coke and stepped on the accelerator, leaving Qin Wanyan with exhaust fumes. The more she thought about Xiang Feng's words, the more violently Qin Wanyan coughed. The little system. There are 6 days, 23 hours, 16 minutes, and 9 seconds left before the mission deadline. Qin Wanyan said grumpily, Can't you tell I'm sick? I can at least take sick leave from work. The little system said, Hello, host. I suggest that you go to the hospital immediately for medical treatment. This mission does not have any function of asking for leave, so it has to be enforced. Qin Wanyan grabbed her hair in agony. Then I won't do this mission. Go find someone else. I don't want to wear it. I want to remove the binding. If they didn't complete the mission, they would die. Who could bear that? She would rather not be the chosen one. The little system replied, You can't, host. Who can complete this lousy mission? How could anyone do it? Qin Wanyan was about to go crazy from the torture. Suddenly, she thought of a possibility. No, I know someone. She's very powerful. I think she can do it. Xiang Yi, you know Xiang Yi, right? Let your main system choose her as the fast transmigrator. Let her replace me. The little system paused for a moment before saying, Replace. Yes, replace. Your main system definitely wants the mission to be completed, right? Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of resources? The little system said, There's no replacement option. Qin Wanyan was like a dying person grasping at straws. You can add her if there's none. If I replace her, this perfect life mission can be completed. In that case, the person who was going to die could be Xiangyi, right? Chapter 593. A summer thunderstorm suddenly descended. The little system fell silent, as if there was an error in its calculations. Outside the window, the heavy rain was pouring down, and the room was warm and beautiful. In the kitchen, Xiang Feng was in charge of doing stand-up comedy to liven up the atmosphere. Shi Sui was washing the vegetables slowly. Xiang Feng was a clean freak and was very serious about washing the vegetables. His hands were beautiful too. Watching him wash the vegetables was simply a blessing to those who were obsessed with his hands. Xiangyi's hair was tied up into a bun, and she was looking down to make handmade powder. With her fair hands, she blended the sweet potatoes and peas according to the ratio. She then poured the powder out of a perforated aluminum ladle and put it into boiling water to solidify. The powder solidified into a vermicelli shape, and Xiangyi stirred it with her long chopsticks. When it was hot enough, she quickly scooped it out and put it into cold water to cool it down. The audience was dazzled. They only felt that in just a short while, Xiangyi had successfully made the handmade sweet potato powder with distinct texture. In the live stream, my brain can master it as soon as I learn it. My hands say that you don't deserve to smile. Sister E is so good at everything. She can even make handmade powder. I'm impressed. I love ready-made wet powder the most. I've eaten at a shop that has a long history and has insisted on handmade powder for so many years. It's really more soulful than dry powder made by machines. Just looking at the powder, Xiang Feng was already drooling. He felt that it was great that his little niece allowed him to stay with her for a few days with her dog. I'm taking advantage of little Shiji. Uncle, shall we eat hot and sour noodles? Xiangyi asked, cocking her head sideways. Xiang Feng nodded frantically. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Xiangyi scooped a few spoonfuls of broth. She had been simmering the broth for a long time using chicken, duck, pork bones, and other ingredients. Now, the broth had turned into a thick, milky white color. I'll make you a super sour and spicy junk food later. Xiang Feng exclaimed. Okay. The next second, he heard his little niece look at Shi Sui and say softly, hot and sour noodles are not healthy. How about I make clear soup noodles with eggs and vegetables? Shi Sui chuckled. Her gold-rimmed glasses were looped behind her ears, making her look classy and simple. As she washed the vegetables, ripples appeared in the air. Thank you, Sister E. Xiangyi, you're welcome. Xiang Feng. Fine, so Shi Sui is healthy, but I'm only fit to eat garbage? Netizens. Why is it that the more I look at these two people, the more I feel that something is wrong? This is the sweetest CP in the world. It's producing grain every day. What's going on? Whenever Shi Ingdi and Sister E look at each other, I feel like pink bubbles are popping up on the screen. To be honest, the way Shi Ingdi looks at Xiangyi is too expressive. He's always cold and aloof to others, but when he sees Xiangyi, he smiles. It's obviously the reaction of someone he likes. Most of the Shi Sui sisters and Spicy Tutu fans were stunned. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, and they were childhood sweethearts. Not to mention having a crush on each other. It was normal for them to have two lovers every 3 years. However, there were also a small number of Shi Sui sisters who were particularly disgusted by CP fans, especially the untimely CP fans. They immediately started lecturing them on the bullet screen. A kind reminder, CP fans are crazy. Shi Sui has peach blossom eyes, and he looks at everyone with deep affection. Okay. Shi Ingdi is the nation's best actor, and Xiangyi can barely be considered an internet celebrity. Don't you feel awkward tying them together every day? They're of equal social status. Okay? Not to be outdone, the CP fans return the greetings. The two sides engaged in a friendly and well-practiced conversation until the moment the hot and sour noodles were ready to be served. The entire screen was flooded with foodies. Fragrant. So fragrant. Chapter 5, 94. It turned out that in front of the foodie fans, all the fans were like little brothers. The verbal battle was like a few raindrops drowned in the torrent of delicious. Her little uncle had a big appetite, so Xiangyi scooped a big bowl for him. The yellowish-brown handmade sweet potato powder was slightly thick and crystal clear. The soup base was dyed red, with chili, glossy and glossy. Paired with peeled peanuts, lettuce, and coriander, the color was bright. Xiang Feng didn't care about the heat, nor could he wait to eat at the table. He picked up a pair of chopsticks, stuffed it into his mouth, and started eating in the kitchen. In an instant, numbness, spiciness, sourness, freshness, fragrance, and other flavors burst on the taste buds. The impact was so strong that it seemed to reach the depths of one's soul. The texture of the powder was more chewy than the dry powder made by the machine. After a few mouthfuls of the powder and a mouthful of the super sour and spicy soup, the taste was doubled. Numb but not bitter, spicy but not dry, fresh but pure, sour but not painful. The taste lingered in the mouth and teeth, and the aftertaste was endless. Xiang Feng praised in a muffled voice. Delicious! So delicious! Countless viewers in front of the screen were drooling. On the major takeout apps, orders for hot and sour noodles soared. Even the Shui sister and untimely CP, who had just been verbally attacking each other, strangely came to a truce. In the big world, food was the most important thing. She ordered takeout first. The second bowl of noodles was clear soup noodles for Shui. The milky white soup base was paired with sweet potato powder, a soft-boiled egg, and a few pieces of green vegetables. It looked light and simple. It's not sour or spicy. Xiangyi looked at Shui. You eat first. Shui, I'll wait for you. Xiangyi couldn't help but be distracted as she cooked her slightly sour and spicy noodles. She and Shui seemed like an old married couple. What would they be like after they got married? Probably similar to now, treating each other with respect and restraining politeness. Sister E, the noodles are ready. The man's deep and mellow voice fell into her ears, and Xiangyi suddenly woke up. She was thinking about all kinds of nonsense. It was just a relationship, but she was already imagining their married life. She pretended to be calm and collected the powder, but the tips of her ears were dyed with a touch of crimson. Since they were all family, dinner was more casual. There were a few plates of pickled vegetables and noodles, as well as iced sour plum soup. After eating the canned food, Xiao Naofu and little Shiji huddled together and snored incessantly. The rain did not stop, but the lights were still bright. It was just a simple dinner, but it caused many people to sigh with emotion. This is life. I suddenly get a little insight. The fireworks of the human world is where the heart desires to be. Well, I really like this daily routine of cooking and eating. Sister Yi's life may seem ordinary, but to me, it's like a utopian world. Of course, there was no lack of haters who came to nitpick. Xiangyi is getting lazier and lazier. She's not cooking a dish for 3 people. Eating too much kimchi can cause cancer. What's the use of her? I originally thought that it was acceptable for her to be a housewife and serve our Shui, but she actually made him wash the vegetables. There's a hierarchy between people. It's really no big deal to become popular through variety shows. This kind of popularity has no foundation and is no different from an internet celebrity. No matter how popular an internet celebrity is, can she be better than a celebrity? Just like social classes, there's a wall. Xiao Hai liked watching live streams and being a keyboard warrior. Tonight, as usual, he criticized Xiangyi and then scratched his feet in satisfaction. However, his mother knocked on the door. Son, hurry and accompany me to the supermarket. The hand sanitizer endorsed by Xiangyi has arrived. Xiao Hai was dumbfounded. Chapter 595. What the hell? Little Hai was shocked and muttered to himself, how does my mom know about Xiangyi? Little Hai's mother was impatient and directly opened the door, shouting, hurry up! Mom just saw the advertisement on TV. I want all the fragrances of, oh boy, if you're late, you won't be able to get it. Your Auntie Sue and Auntie Yang went to get it. Mom, you're talking about all the purchases, right? Little Hai took a long time to understand his mother's plastic English. He reluctantly put on his coat. It's just a hand sanitizer. What's there to fight for? Can this stuff be sold out? Anyway, when he passed by the daily necessities section of the supermarket, he never saw any shelves empty. However, when Little Hai accompanied his mother to the supermarket, he realized that he was really too young. The supermarket was packed with people. It was comparable to the flow of people during the Chinese New Year. Little Hai noticed that most of them were aunties. Other than his mother, there were also grannies. Everyone was fighting for the hand sanitizer. The supermarket even arranged for staff to hold loudspeakers to maintain order. Everyone, please line up to buy. The hand sanitizer is limited to 5 bottles per person. Hey, big sister, if you move back a little, you can't cut the line. A group of people were discussing. She's already so old, and she's still cutting the line. Yeah, look at how anxious she is. I didn't see her so uncultured when she snatched eggs last time. Listening to the discussions coming from all directions, Little Hai was in a daze. He had seen mobile phones and luxury goods limited, but this was the first time he saw hand sanitizer limited. Next to him, Little Hai's mother stomped her feet. We're late. Xiangyi endorses 6 fragrances. If we buy 5, we won't be able to buy all of them. Little Hai was strong on the internet, but in reality, he was very timid, especially in front of his mother. He said frankly, Mom, we won't be able to finish 5 bottles in a short time. What do you know? Little Hai's mother rolled her eyes at him. A passionate auntie next to them said, Hey, do you want to share the order? My husband has already bought 5 bottles. He's only missing a vanilla one. You can buy 2 vanilla bottles later, and I'll exchange them with you. I'll help you get 6 bottles. Little Hai's mother's eyes lit up. Okay. Xiao Hai, that works too. He thought with melancholy that women were indeed creatures similar to dragons. They were greedy and had a hobby of collecting. Xiao Hai's mother and the auntie hit it off right away. It was as if they were biological sisters from different mothers. They added each other on WeChat and chatted about their daily lives. After a while, they were even trying to find a partner for Xiao Hai. Your son is so handsome. Marry Xiangyi as your wife. Auntie teased. Xiao Hai's mother said sternly, How can he be worthy of Xiangyi? Little Hai. However, listening to the surrounding aunties and grannies happily discussing Xiangyi, Little Hai suddenly realized that not only was Xiangyi popular with young people, she also seemed to have a lot of mother fans and milk powder. For some reason, he felt a little ashamed. He felt that he was spouting nonsense when he said that Xiangyi was an internet celebrity. Little Hai took a short video and posted it to his circle of friends. Ocean, there are so many people accompanying my mom to buy hand soap. A bunch of scoundrels commented below. Oh, you've changed. Didn't you hate Xiangyi very much in the past? If it were me, I'd also accompany my mom and auntie to fight over hand soap. Sister E is really popular. Similar scenes were playing out all over the country. There was no need to buy trending searches at all. The netizens' spontaneous popularity had already pushed a topic to the top. Hashtag Nation's Sister Xiangyi. Hashtag Chapter 596. Although many brands were tempted by the online sales of snail powder, they decided to wait and see. This time, The offline sales of hand sanitizer made people realize how popular Xiang Yi was. In the entertainment industry, popularity was a kind of metaphysics. Some celebrities just weren't likable. No matter how hard they tried, they just wouldn't be liked by everyone. However, some celebrities were different. Everyone in their family would like them. Even if they weren't fans, they would still get comments like, that kid is pretty good. In the past year, Xiang Yi was the former. Now, Xiang Yi was the latter. At the end of tonight's live stream, Li Jianyu announced a piece of news. There will be a lot of guests coming tomorrow. Let me give you a hint. It's a bunch of cute and handsome boys. Everyone in the live stream was guessing if C7's idols were coming. Now, C7 had a stage that they had never dared to dream of before. They had become the top male group in the country. The funny thing was that when they were interviewed, they kept talking about Xiang Yi as if they were her #1 fans. Xiang Yi also thought of C7 and asked tentatively, "Are Jiang Chun and the others coming?" Li Jinyu: "Hee, maybe anyway, Sister E, you're going to be a woodcutter again." He even winked mischievously at Shi Sui. "How is it? I'm pretty good at wink, right?" Shi Sui folded her arms and smiled. "I thought your eyes were cramping." Li Jinyu: "All right, looks like Daddy Shi has already entered a state of jealousy. What gentlemanly gentlemen. It's all fake. It's all fake." The audience in the live stream began to jeer. Hey, it's him. It's him. It's him. Our jealous Shi Sui. Wow, a bunch of boys. Familiar formula, familiar taste. I'm looking forward to Xiang Yi's large-scale concubine selection tomorrow. What's wrong with the timing? I suggest you don't stick to the standard too much. Join me, and you'll reap many times more happiness. While the audience was guessing the guests, the live stream ended. Xiang Feng carried Xiao Naofu and little Shiji upstairs to the renovated entertainment room to watch a movie. Xiang Yi, on the other hand, got up and prepared to go over tomorrow's menu. As soon as the girl stepped into the kitchen, she heard familiar footsteps behind her. She turned around and was met with a pair of deep, dark eyes. Creak, the kitchen door was closed. This was a space that Xiang Yi couldn't be more familiar with, but at this moment, she felt a little nervous. "What's wrong? Do you have something to say to me?" Xiang Yi asked. Shi Sui looked at her with a faint smile. "Sister E, you're quite concerned about tomorrow's guests." "Xiang Yi, you're a guest." That was what Xiang Yi's grandfather, Madame Xiang, had taught her since she was a child. Over time, she had become accustomed to it. Shi Sui pushed his glasses up with his fingers and noticed that Xiang Yi was staring straight at his Adam's apple. His thin lips curled slightly. He slowly unbuttoned the top button of his shirt and said nonchalantly, "It's a little hot." "It does seem a little." Xiang Yi looked at him eagerly, but the more she looked forward to it, the slower Shi Sui unbuttoned it. After much difficulty, he finally unbuttoned one button, revealing his fair skin and the rise and fall of his Adam's apple. It was more tempting than if he had unbuttoned all of them when Shi Sui's fingers landed on the second button. The girl in front of him looked even brighter. Shi Sui suddenly stopped in his tracks. Just as Xiang Yi was feeling regretful, she heard him say in a lazy voice, seemingly unintentionally, "My hand hurts. Sister E, can you help me unbutton it?" Chapter 597. Your hand hurts. Xiang Yi frowned and grabbed Shi Sui's wrist. "Let me check your pulse." The next second, her milky white and slender wrist was grabbed with a backhand and firmly shackled. His warm thumb rubbed against her slightly protruding wrist bone, evoking a slight itch. In an instant, it was so quiet in the kitchen that she could hear the sound of the refrigerator running. Although Xiang Yi was slow, she was not completely clueless. Her ears were burning, but she still pretended to be serious. "Are you lying to me?" "Yes." Sure Sui admitted it openly. His upturned eyes were deep and dark, and he smiled gently. Oh, no, Sister, found out. Although he said so, the man did not feel guilty or guilty at all. His other hand played with Xiangyi's hair lazily and casually. He restrained himself, but Xiangyi was embarrassed. The girl's cheeks blushed. Although you lied to me, but I can help you unbutton, because I'm a good person. Sure Sui chuckled and leaned slightly. Then I'll have to trouble you. There was a height difference between the two, but now the distance between them was closer. Xiangyi's fingertips curled slightly, not knowing if it was out of shyness or anticipation. Her soft fingers trembled as she unbuttoned the man in front of her. She tried for a long time, but still could not unbutton it. Sure Sui looked up. His dark eyes behind the glasses were deep and beautiful. It's too difficult, Xiangyi said before he could speak. Sure Sui smiled. I thought, Sister, you wanted to take advantage of me. Xiangyi, she did not. She stammered. I don't often think about it. Oh. Realizing that she had said something wrong, Xiangyi was embarrassed. But when she thought that Sure Sui was her boyfriend, she said confidently, I just think about it occasionally, and I haven't put it into practice. She regretted it after saying that. She thought that Sure Sui would be angry. Unexpectedly, Sure Sui was not only not angry, but also smiled happily. Why don't we put it into practice now? Huh. His slender fingers held the girl's hand and slowly unbuttoned the second button of his shirt. The man's clean and clear Adam's apple became clearer. His collarbone was also very good. His pale skin unexpectedly had a youthful look, but it was very sexy. Xiangyi unconsciously forgot to blink. Sure Sui was not in a hurry to speak. Instead, he picked up the glass of water on the counter beside him and took a sip. As he drank, his Adam's apple moved up and down, which was particularly obvious. His unbuttoned, white shirt revealed his usual gentle and abstinent temperament. Xiangyi felt that she could not hold it in anymore. Her hands were very itchy. She slowly moved to Sure Sui's side. Boyfriend. Yes, girlfriend. Can I put it into practice more? The man's hand holding the glass tightened silently. After a while, he put down the glass and put his fingers on the back of the girl's neck. He gently rubbed it like a cat and asked calmly, What do you want to do it? Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. She looked up. Her eyes were amazingly bright, as if a star had fallen. Sure Sui made eye contact with her and waited quietly for her answer, although he was not as calm as he appeared to be. The girl raised a finger and spoke in a soft voice, as if she was acting coquettish. Can I touch it? Chapter 598. Outside the window, the sound of the rain gradually weakened. There was a gentle light in the room. It was like a slow-motion scene in a movie. The light and shadow were flickering frame by frame. Ambiguity mixed in the air, like ice cubes colliding into cola, sizzling with sweet bubbles. Sure Sui's eyes darkened. Just for a moment. Xiangyi emphasized. Really, just for a moment. Her voice gradually lowered. Actually, I've always been curious. How does a guy's Adam's apple feel? Is it similar to tonsils inflammation? So it was just an Adam's apple. Sure Sui leaned against the wall, looking relaxed and lazy. If it's someone else, not even for a moment. If it's Sister E, you can touch as much as you want. Swish! This sentence was so lethal that Xiangyi's ears turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, the little girl had inherited the arrogance of the Xiang family. Even if she was extremely shy, she had to pretend that it didn't matter. She stretched out her index finger and carefully approached Sure Sui. Then she was extremely nervous and expectant, she poked it lightly and felt it carefully. Seeing her serious expression, Shui couldn't help but chuckle. His Adam's apple trembled slightly. The little girl withdrew her hand and blinked. So it's really different from tonsils inflammation. She sighed. Shui looked at her. Do you still want to continue? Xiangyi was shocked. Can we continue? Was there such a good thing in the world? Shui's eyes were full of love. He simply took her hand and pressed it to his Adam's apple. Our sister Yi, you can do whatever you want to me, Xiangyi said excitedly. Then I want to touch your collarbone. You can, but... He deliberately paused. But what? The little rabbit fell into the trap. I know that there are many important people in Sister Yi's heart. I'm so lucky to occupy a little space in Sister Yi's heart. I'm already very satisfied. It's just that I still don't feel safe. I always feel like I'm not good enough. A certain best actor was like a cup of top-notch Longjing tea before the rain, the fragrance of the tea overflowing. Unfortunately, Xiangyi really fell for it. She immediately became anxious. Don't say such things. I won't allow you to think like that. You're clearly very good. Very good. No one can say that you're not good. Not even you can do it. Shui was slightly stunned. She lowered her eyelids to hide the surging emotions in her eyes. Xiangyi put her hands on her hips. No matter what, you're not allowed to do that. You hear me? Okay, we'll listen to Sister Yi. Xiangyi recalled the world of female supremacy that she had almost transmigrated to. The female lead that she had assisted had nothing but pampered and coaxed her husbands. Xiangyi felt that she should coax her boyfriend more. Thus, the little girl said with a serious expression, I admit that family is the most important thing in my heart. However, other than family, you are the most important. Although we haven't been together for a long time, the depth of a relationship is not defined by time. She paused and said shyly but firmly, I like you. I like you very, very much. Don't worry. I'll definitely give you a sense of security in the future. Shui's breathing became slightly heavy. How could she be so good, so gentle? The girl patted her slender shoulders. If I'm sad in the future, I'll tell you. If you're sad, you can also come and lean on my shoulders. Boyfriends are meant to be pampered, spoiled, and protected. Chapter 599. Although Xiangyi was trying to coax him, she really meant what she said. The girl blushed even more. She waited for a few seconds, but Shui did not respond. She blinked in confusion and asked, You don't like to hear this? Xiangyi was a little annoyed. Then I won't say it again. I like it. He interrupted her firmly. Xiangyi was stunned. I like it very much. Shui coughed and looked away. A bold guess surfaced in Xiangyi's heart. You're not shy, are you? Shui didn't answer, and instead quietly changed the topic. The man's skill was too high. With just a few words, Xiangyi's attention returned to the menu. I read the weather forecast. It's going to rain tomorrow, and the temperature is low. If there are a lot of people, why don't we have hot pot? Xiangyi looked through the kitchen utensils. Thanks to her uncle's love of hot pot, she had many pots here, such as a birthday pot, a mandarin duck pot, a 9-palace pot, and so on. Shui said, Just give him something to eat. How can I do that? He's a younger brother. He's still young and growing. He has to eat well. Before she finished speaking, a pair of big hands grabbed her waist. The man's palm was hot, and his forehead was pressed against hers. Sister E, I'm jealous. Huh? Do you like your younger brother? Sister. Cough. Xiangyi felt all the blood in her body rushing to her head, and she almost choked on her own saliva. Don't call me sister. Shui saw her reaction and raised his eyebrows. Seems like you really like him, sister. Xiangyi was speechless. I'm done. I'm really done. Why is it that when others call me sister, I don't react at all, but when Shui calls me sister, I feel like kissing him and pressing him against the wall. Okay, I'll stop teasing you. Shui could not bear to push the girl too far. He patted Xiangyi's back and said, "Breathe out. Don't hold it in." Xiangyi, how did he know that he would hold his breath when he was nervous? Good night. Xiangyi pushed him away and slipped into the bedroom. Even though there were canned food and toys, Xiao Naofu and little Shiji quickly went downstairs to play, probably because Xiang Feng disliked dogs and cats. Seeing Xiangyi, Xiao Naofu chased after her. Little Shiji picked up Xiao Naofu's favorite salted fish toy and followed them. Only Shui was left on the spot. It was cold and cheerless, just like the cat and dog disliked number 2. The next day, early in the morning, a drizzle fell from the sky. Perhaps it was because of the rain, but Xiangyi was still sleeping soundly with Xiao Naofu in her arms even after morning exercise time. The little kitten was lying on her chest, snoring softly. On the ground, little Shiji was sleeping in Xiao Naofu's cat bed with a salted fish toy in his arms. As soon as the live stream started, everyone discovered that Xiangyi did not wake up early today. That was like poking a hornet's nest. The haters arrived one after another. It's already 8 o'clock and Xiangyi still hasn't woken up. Is she a pig? Wasn't Xiangyi quite diligent in the beginning? Now that she's become famous, she's starting to throw her weight around. The guests are coming soon. Isn't she going to get up to cook? Who would marry such a lazy woman? When the Spicy Tutu fans saw these comments, they were about to retort, but Shui appeared on the screen. He was wearing a gray short-sleeved shirt and black trousers, looking especially youthful. He forgot to bring a towel and casually lifted the hem of his short-sleeved shirt to wipe his sweat, revealing his abs. In an instant, the live stream exploded. Chapter 600. Shui, you must be Bodhisattva. Go higher, go higher. I don't lack this bit of traffic. Look at his waist, abs, and Apollo's belt. My Tian Shui has such a good figure. The audience only saw Shui's figure, but Li Jianyu saw more through the camera. Why do I feel that Daddy Shui is a little coquettish today? Li Jianyu turned to ask Wan Qing, who was beside him. Wan Qing was wearing a camel-colored coat and looked very elegant. She handed Li Jianyu a cup of hot coffee and said with a smile, "Maybe it's the childish desire of men to compare." What the hell? Why are we men so childish? How can we compare? Wan Qing played with the card that was given to her by the takeout restaurant. There had been a small promotion at this coffee shop recently where customers would receive a card for ordering coffee. After opening the packaging, each card was different. Many people would order coffee in order to collect a set of cards, such as Li Jianyu and the photographer Old Zhang. She said calmly, "I heard that Old Zhang has already collected 9 cards, one more than you?" Li Jianyu said, "What did you say? Damn it, how can I tolerate this? I can't. Come on, order me 2 more cups of coffee. I must surpass him and collect all the cards as soon as possible." Wan Qing smiled without saying anything. Amen. It turned out that although Li Jianyu was a fool, he had good taste. Shui went to take a shower. When he appeared on camera again, he was obviously more exquisite than usual. The pure black satin shirt outlined his tall and slender figure, which was tucked into his trousers a little, making him look lazy and casual. His hair was no longer casually blown or air-dried like before. Instead, it was all tucked behind his forehead and fixed with wax, revealing his handsome and deep facial features. He had changed his glasses into a retro style with a golden chain behind his ears. The light in the room mixed with a gentle glaze on his chiseled face. Originally, he was already attractive enough in casual and home clothes. Today, he had dressed up so meticulously that the comments section of the live stream was full of screams. Ascetic Shui is done. His looks are so good this early in the morning. I can't take it anymore. I want to slide on the bridge of my brother's nose. I want to swing on my brother's eyelashes. I want to swim in my brother's collarbone. I want to play hide and seek in his abs. He looked in the direction of Xiangyi's room and frowned. The little girl had a very regular schedule and rarely slept in. At this time, she should have woken up. Was he sick? Shui was a little worried, so she gently asked the female staff to check the bedroom. As soon as the staff left, there was a commotion outside the door. Sister E, are you home? Sister E, we're here. Sister E, I brought you a present. They were noisy but young and lively. Shui opened the door and was greeted with the sight of 7 or 8 teenagers dressed in black uniforms. There was a double-headed arrow symbol on the left side of their chests, which seemed to be a symbol of logic. When they saw Shui, the teenagers instantly fell silent. They were like primary school students who saw their teacher. They stood at attention unconsciously, and some of them hurriedly adjusted their curled hair. Standing on the far left was Xiangyi's fourth brother, Xiangyu. The teenager was wearing a cap and looked tired. Good morning, this is Shui, Big Brother Shui. Big Brother Shui, these are my teammates on the team. The audience exclaimed, it's a large-scale concubine selection. She may be late, but she won't be absent. Chapter 601. There were a total of 4 official players and 4 substitutes in Team Logic. When they heard that they could come to Xiangyi's house today, they all scrambled to come. They were even more enthusiastic about the competition. Xiangyu asked, "Where's my sister?" Shui answered, "She's still sleeping." Xiangyu was dumbfounded. The expression in his eyes changed instantly, and he stared at Shui as if he was looking at a beast. Shui raised her eyebrows and couldn't be bothered to explain. She made way for the children to enter. At present, the oldest person in the team was the captain, Wander, who was 22 years old, followed by Xiangyu, who was 21 years old. Most of the other players were between 16 and 20 years old. The esports industry was very realistic and cruel. The professional careers of the players were usually not too long. The usually arrogant and unruly Tianxiu in the game were all extremely obedient at this moment. They didn't even dare to eat the fruits that Shui handed them. Xiangyu vaguely heard 2 people whispering to each other. Would Shui poison the fruits? I don't think so. Xiangyu heaved a sigh of relief, only to hear the latter half of the sentence hesitantly and cautiously. He wouldn't poison them with a strong poison, would he? It could be said that they were very humble. At this moment, the female staff member from before hurried out of Xiangyi's room and said anxiously, "Why isn't Sister E waking up? Could she have fainted?" Shui's expression changed slightly. At this moment, he couldn't care less about the differences between men and women and gentlemanly etiquette. He strode into Xiangyi's room. Xiangyu also rushed in. In the bedroom, by the bed, little Shiji raised its front paws and barked while leaning against the edge of the bed. Seeing Shui enter, it rubbed its head against Shui's trousers and whimpered twice. Shui stroked the back of the little Shiba Inu's neck and looked at Xiangyi. The girl was covered with a thin blanket and sleeping soundly. Her breathing was light and even, and she didn't seem to be abnormal at all. Sister. Xiangyu panicked and recalled that his sister seemed to have changed into a different person after waking up from a nap a year ago. He immediately broke out in cold sweat. However, she was like a sleeping beauty in a fairy tale. No matter how much Xiangyu shouted or shook her, she didn't react at all. Shui took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. His eyes locked onto Xiao Naofu in the girl's arms. The little cat also fell into a deep sleep, its furry tail hooked onto Xiangyi's wrist. The human and the cat seemed to have been cursed. In the living room, the cameraman didn't go in. He only took pictures of the reactions of the members of Team Logic in the living room. She could tell that her younger brothers were really worried about Xiangyi. However, there were some haters who didn't care about the time and place and continued to spew nonsense. Who knows if she's faking it or not? Why did she have to faint now of all times? Wasn't she fine yesterday? She fainted just like that today. What a joke. Isn't she trying to seduce Shi Ingdi into her bedroom on purpose? If a woman used this trick, she would definitely be called a white lotus. The spicy tutu girls were so angry that they retorted on the spot. Are you blind? Sister, he works so hard every day. Can't you see? Watch your words. Who hasn't felt uncomfortable at times? Celebrities are humans too, okay? Sure, Ingdi's legs are on his body. Did he walk in on his own? Or did someone put a knife to his neck and make him go in? There were also some fans of the untimely CP who were secretly excited. Candy! It's Candy! At the same time, Xiangyi saw a familiar interface in her days. Hello, I'm system number 1018. I'm at your service. Chapter 602. A question mark slowly appeared on top of Xiangyi's head. This was very fascinating. She looked down and saw her almost transparent hands. It was dark all around, with the occasional flickering of silver light, as if they were floating in the vast universe. Beside her, Xiao Naofu was also fascinated. The little cat flapped its little paws in the air, squatted on Xiangyi's shoulder, and roared at the system. Meow, 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 meow. Our stupid woman is almost through, idiot. Number 1018 was equipped with a cat language translator and was stunned after hearing this. Almost through? Wait a moment. I need to send back to the main systems database to check. There was silence all around. Number 1018 left. Xiangyi hugged Xiao Naofu and pinched its little face. Don't be angry, little baby. If you get angry again, you won't be the world's most handsome big tiger anymore. Xiao Naofu's fur exploded in anger. Meow, meow. How could there be such a thing? Xiangyi had already completed all the fast transmigration missions. How could they rebind her to the system? Although Xiao Naofu was ignorant, it also knew that fast transmigration was actually a very difficult thing. Life and death, mutual deception, and all the people and things that one cared about would eventually become memory fragments. It made one doubt whether one really existed. Xiangyi, don't be afraid. Maybe there's just a bug somewhere. At the mention of bugs, Xiao Naofu suddenly realized that the world Xiangyi was in seemed to be getting more and more abnormal. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any fast transmigrators in this plane, but there were Ling Yi, Qin Wanyan, and Shui, who had a very strange aura. What was going on? It meowed softly and rubbed against Xiangyi's arms, feeling a little uneasy. After waiting for a few minutes, number 1018's voice sounded. I'm back. Host. After checking, there are no records of your fast transmigration. Xiao Naofu. Meow, meow, meow. How could there be no records? It had clearly been with Xiangyi the whole time. Xiangyi remained calm. Are you sure? Yes. Xiangyi nodded. Okay, I got it. Number 1018 was a little surprised. Although it was only an intern system, it had heard its seniors talk about the reactions of the hosts when they learned that they were about to start transmigrating. Some people were wild with joy, some were incomparably resistant, and some broke down and cursed. But it seemed that no one was as calm as Xiangyi. However, number 1018 also brought good news. However, I also found out the identity of this stupid cat. It is indeed the reincarnation of the system. Number 1018 had human-like thoughts and emotions. It could not understand how such a childish system could exist. Was it spoiled by the host? He was so envious. Xiao Naofu. Meow, meow, meow. Who are you calling stupid? Also, this hoo-hoo is not a cat. No. Show some respect. Number 1018 said bluntly, but according to my scan, you are a cat. Xiangyi covered Xiao Naofu's ears. I'm not listening. Tortoise chanting. Number 1018. Xiao Naofu whined in a childish voice and pouted, obviously throwing a tantrum. Suddenly, number 1018 said, Host, I have received instructions from the main system. Due to a bug, you can temporarily not transmigrate, but you need to complete the beginner's mission. Ding! Please complete the mission for this dimension's male lead. Sure Sui. Requirement: marriage. After completion, you will receive a generous reward. Xiangyi. What? When did your system have a marriage-urging function? I've been chosen as the lucky goose. I have to get up at 5:30 tomorrow morning to raise the national flag. Nuanyuan should go to bed first. Try to update early tomorrow _ smiley face, angle _ good night. Chapter 603. She was silent for a few seconds and caught the main point. She narrowed her beautiful doe eyes and asked, The male lead of this dimension? Host, in fact, your world is a bubble world derived from a book. As the male lead, Sure Sui has the strongest luck and male lead halo. In layman's terms, he has countless golden fingers. Do you need me to download the content for you? Download. Soon, a book titled Best Actor in the Entertainment Industry appeared in front of Xiangyi. This was a standard novel for men. The male lead, Sure Sui, leveled up, honed his acting skills, and finally became the best actor in the entertainment industry. Xiangyi flipped through the book. Because Sure Sui in the book was misogynistic, he didn't have any emotional scenes from beginning to end. As for her name, it only briefly appeared in the book, Xiangyu's little niece, a childhood friend, and the little girl next door. Other than that, there was nothing else. Xiangyi was in a trance for a moment. So, her world was just a book? Everything that could be called fate was just an understatement by someone else? Was it Zhuangzhou dreaming of a butterfly, or was it a butterfly dreaming of Zhuangzhou? Was everything real, or was it just a dream? But it was only for a moment. Xiangyi calmed down. So what if it was a world in the book? To her, the world was real, her family was real, and Sure Sui was also real. There was no doubt. There was no need to doubt. I understand. Xiangyi nodded. Can we go back now? Number 1018 was a little surprised, but he didn't show it. She was actually so determined. He was afraid that the main system wouldn't be able to fool her with the male lead halo of the book world. The official said politely, Yes, please wait for a moment. The private doctor arrived in time to check on Xiangyi. Maybe she's too tired, or maybe it's because of psychological reasons. Judging from her vital signs, she couldn't find anything unusual. Seeing that everyone was so nervous, she suggested, Why don't we send Miss Xiang to the hospital for a full-body checkup? As soon as she said that, the girl on the bed, her thick eyelashes fluttered, and she slowly opened her eyes. Sister. Xiangyu half knelt in front of the bed and grabbed her hand. Xiangyi coughed twice, her voice a little hoarse. Brother. The word brother made Xiangyu's heart fall to the ground. Xiangyi's gaze passed him and fell on Sure Sui behind him. The gray satin shirt looked both classy and exquisite. His originally meticulously combed hair was now slightly messy, falling over his deep brow bones. Little Shiji pressed his head against his leg, his eyes full of tears. The man and the dog looked extremely pitiful. Xiangyi suddenly felt a lump in her throat. I'm fine, she said. It's good that you're okay. It's good that you're okay. Xiang Yu was extremely relieved. Xiao Naofu also slowly woke up, cupping Xiang Yi's chest and acting coquettishly. Sure Sui picked up the stupid cat. Xiao Naofu flailed its claws in the air in protest. The man asked gently, Sister E, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Preserved egg and lean meat porridge with youtiao? Sure Sui. Then I'll order takeout for you. In the next second, the system prompt sounded in her mind. Ding, please ask Shui to make breakfast for you. You'll receive 100 points after completion. Xiang Yi closed the mission bar expressionlessly. Our boyfriend is meant to be pampered, not to be cooked. Number 1018. Why does this host seem a little rebellious? Chapter 604. But, host, this is your mission. Please answer a question for me first. Is the result or the process the most important thing in a mission? The result. Then, no matter what method I use, is it logically feasible to get the same result? Yes. Okay, you can shut up now. Number 1018. Why is the host so cold? Ha ha ha. Xiao Naofu sneered mercilessly. Little trash. Our stupid woman doesn't need a noob system like you. Xiang Yi didn't hesitate to order number 1018 around. She directly connected Xiao Naofu to the channel and shared the cat language translator function with it. Number 1018. This hateful stupid cat, how dare it mock me? In the kitchen, Xiang Yi changed into a thin apricot-colored sweater with a white half-skirt looking gentle and soft. She poured porridge that had been simmering for a few hours with a timer function into several casseroles, then added century eggs, lean meat, shiitake mushrooms, shredded ginger, and other ingredients before slowly stirring them with a wooden spoon. When the dough was almost fermented, Xiang Yi added some salt and pepper, kneaded it, and then cut it into medium-sized batches. She stacked them in groups of 2, dipped her chopsticks in water, and gently pressed them on top of each other. She then placed the batches into a pot of hot oil and fried them. After a while, they gradually turned into fluffy, fragrant, and crispy fried dough sticks. The fragrance wafted out through the crack in the door. After a while, Wander couldn't help but squat at the door, followed by Xiao Yang, Ashui, and Song Song. After frying a pot, Xiang Yi fished it out, dripped some oil, and opened the door, ready to call the children to try the freshly cooked fried dough sticks. However, she found a group of children squatting at the door like they were growing radishes. The girl was obviously stunned for 2 seconds. This scene made the viewers in the live stream laugh. Sister E is dumbfounded. JPG. Shocking. The 8 players of Team Logic actually did such a thing. Ha ha ha. The little boys squatting in a row waiting for food are so cute. I want to pinch their cheeks one by one. Xiang Yi paused for a moment and said, the fried dough sticks are the best when they're fresh out of the pot. Do you guys want to try it first? All right. Xiang Yi originally thought that the big pot would be enough to taste, but she didn't expect that this group of children would be like reincarnated, hungry wolves, gobbling it up like a whirlwind. He was indeed a half-grown kid who ate until his father was poor. After the children finished eating, they all looked at Xiang Yi innocently. Sister E, did we eat too much? As the captain, Wander was quite embarrassed. Their team members were all night owls. They usually didn't eat breakfast. However, the deep-fried dough sticks that Xiang Yi fried were simply too delicious. Not only were they fragrant and soft, but they also had a faint milky fragrance. The freshly cooked deep-fried dough sticks were also not overly greasy. It tasted completely different from takeout. It doesn't matter. I'll fry another pot, and the porridge will be almost ready. Later, I'll eat it with porridge and side dishes. It's not good to eat only fried things, Xiang Yi said softly and lowered her head to continue frying the deep-fried dough sticks. Without needing her instructions, the children automatically cleared the table and took the bowls and chopsticks. They even fought to scoop up the kimchi and scoop up the eggs. Seeing this, the coaches at the base twitched their mouths. The little brats who usually wouldn't even pick up the oil kettle at the base were now so diligent at going to Xiangyi's house. Xiangyi moved quickly. In the blink of an eye, she had fried 2 pots of deep-fried dough sticks. She shouted softly, "It's time to eat. Go wash your hands." In an instant, the esports players of Team Logic all obediently lined up in front of the sink. Yes, we'll listen to Sister E. Chapter 605. Xiangyi said, "Use hand sanitizer to wash them properly." The children were very obedient and returned to the dining table smelling good. On the wooden dining table, there were a few exquisite side dishes and 2 freshly fried vegetables. The youqiao was cut into small pieces and neatly stacked together. The eggs were chilled with water, and the temperature was just right for shelling. In addition, there was a bowl of piping hot congee with pork and century egg in front of everyone. Gulp. The sound of saliva swallowing was very clear. Usually, the members of Team Logic wouldn't be awake at this time. They thought that they would be very tired from today's recording, but they were very energetic. There was only one thought in their minds: gluttony. Xiangyi urged, "Why are you all in a daze? Eat, eat." The children began to eat. The youqiao was crispy and delicious. The outside was crispy, and the inside was like a sponge cake with gaps. The milky fragrance was mixed with a slight taste of pepper. Sweetness, saltiness, and spiciness overlapped to create a rich texture. Whether it was eaten directly or mixed with congee, it was full of happiness. The congee with pork and century egg was even better. The rice had basically melted, and it was soft and sticky in the mouth. The pork was steamed and fried, and it was very chewy. The century egg was smooth and appetizing, and the shiitake mushroom was soft and fragrant. Together, it was as if an electric current had burst at the tip of the tongue, directly attacking the taste buds and the brain. Ah, it's so delicious! Woo-woo, this is the best congee I've ever eaten in my life. This kimchi is delicious too. It's sour and spicy. It's so strong. Sister E, you're amazing. Yes, Sister E is awesome. Sister E is awesome. The children were all praising her. Xiangyi smiled gently. Eat more if you like it. As for the kimchi, I can pack it for you when we leave. Everyone cheered. Thank you, Sister E. Wander said seriously, "Stop calling me Sister E. Call me Sister." In an instant, the children all changed to calling her sister. Xiangyi ate the congee quietly, but the little girl under the table couldn't help but shake twice. In fact, she had always wanted to be an elder sister since she was young. Unfortunately, she was the youngest in the family and had never had the chance to realize it. Who would have thought that his wish would come true today? Shi Sui, who was sitting on her left, leaned over and whispered, "Are you happy, sister?" Xiangyi's hand trembled, and the spoon clanked against the porcelain bowl. How should I put it? The number of times that Shi Sui called her big sister could not compare to the number of times that her legs turned to jelly. Cough. The young girl pretended to be serious. "Do you want to eat eggs? I'll peel one for you." Shi Sui said, "I'll do it." Xiangyi was the first to grab the bowl of eggs. Her milky white face was serious. No, men's hands are not used to do this kind of rough work. Shi Sui raised her eyebrows and smiled noncommittally. Then, "Thank you, Sister E. I'm so lucky to have met such a good sister E." Xiangyu, who was closest to her, Brother Shi was getting more and more shameless. Was this still the man he admired and respected as a child? Why was he constantly emitting the fragrance of tea now? Logic's little brothers also heard it. Xiao Yang was outspoken and asked straightforwardly, "Sure, Ingdi, aren't you afraid that the netizens will scold you for living off a woman?" Shi Sui slowly scooped a spoonful of congee and drank it calmly and confidently. The doctor said that I have a weak stomach, and it's not good for me to live off a woman. Everyone, what? So, you're proud of living off a woman. Chapter 606. The fans of the couple were screaming in the live stream. Ah, that's a confession. I don't care. It's a confession. See that? This is the majesty of the Empress. As long as our Empress is alive, all of you are concubines. Oh my God, who still remembers how proud Shui used to be? In front of Sister E, he has no integrity at all. The Shui sisters had mixed feelings, but thinking about it carefully, Xiangyi seemed to be quite outstanding. She was good-looking, rich, gentle, and all-round. In all honesty, one might be able to find an artist who was more popular than Xiangyi in the entertainment industry, but definitely not one who was more suitable for Shui, because Shui liked her. At the thought of this, many of the Shui sisters felt relieved. The meaning of chasing after a star was to chase after a ray of light. Now, this star was also going to chase after his light. After breakfast, the boys rushed to wash the dishes, as if they were children in kindergarten who were trying their best to show off in front of the teacher in order to get a little red flour. The coaches at the base lit their cigarettes and were speechless. Indeed, there was always someone to beat. Finally, there was someone who could tame this group of lawless brats. After breakfast, Xiangyi fed the boys a lot of snacks before letting them get to work. Considering the special nature of the esports profession, the production team arranged for some relatively easy and interesting tasks to avoid hurting their hands. For example, they had to go to Little Rabbit Farm to control the robots to move goods, or go to the glass greenhouse to collect petals to make aromatherapy. To the boys of Team Logic, these tasks were not so much tasks as they were relaxing. The boys were having so much fun that they even went to catch chickens, saying that they wanted Xiangyi to make chicken soup for lunch. In the end, they accidentally provoked a flock of geese, and all of them were chased around. The boys screamed, and the live stream became a sea of laughter. As we all know, one goose is equal to the combat power of 2 adults. Ha! Who asked you to be naughty? Now you've been taught a lesson by the big geese. Mages, pay attention to your positioning. Can you be a jungler? Pay attention to your coordination. Archers, don't you want to deal damage? Doghead. Under the ridicule of the netizens, Wander showed the courage of the #1 commander in the Alliance. He calmed himself down and commanded his teammates to launch a counterattack. Little Yang, attack from the left. Shui, why are you running? Your shoes are about to fall off. Come and catch him. Everyone take a roundabout route and outflank them. Pay attention to your positioning. Don't King nag me. Get lost. The few big geese seemed to have turned into spirits. They caught Wander and beat him up. Wander was so merciless that he covered his head and ran away like a rat. His teammates beside him could not stop laughing. Not far away, Xiangyu was wearing a black cap and had one hand in his pocket. He looked extremely aloof. Xiangyi was holding a basket with all kinds of flowers she had just cut. The girl smiled. Brother, aren't you going to play with me? Xiangyu's body tensed up. Boring, childish, something only little kids would play with. My brother always says that I'm a kid. Xiangyi blinked. But I think my brother is also a kid. As soon as her soft voice fell, the girl gently pushed Xiangyu, pushing him towards his brothers. Then, the esports guru, who had said that it was boring, suddenly became more interested in catching geese than anyone else. Xiangyi looked at her brother, and a small dimple appeared on her cheek. Chapter 607. That was all there was to it, if the system didn't spoil the fun. Number 1018. Host, your mission has not been completed. Xiangyi, refresh the next mission. Number 1018 tried to resist. Missions have to be done in order. Xiangyi, turn on the shielding function. Sob. That's too cold. Okay, I'll refresh the next mission for you. Ding, please let Sure Sway spend money for you. There's no limit to the amount. The system was obviously going easy on her for this mission. Number 1018 thought that Xiangyi would at least agree to do such a simple mission, right? Unexpectedly, continue to change. Number 1018. It couldn't figure it out. Why? I'm the one who should spend money for my boyfriend. Please let Sure Sway praise you once. It could be said that the system was going easy on her. Xiangyi, my boyfriend is so outstanding, I should praise him more. Number 1018. Forget it, I'll do as I see fit. You can block yourself now. Meow, meow, meow. Xiao Naofu laughed smugly in the three-person channel. Number 1018 died. The system had human-like emotions. Number 1018 fell into a depressed mood. Xiangyi, on the other hand, was deep in thought. She wasn't provoking the system, but testing it. She was testing the bottom line of number 1018. This number 1018 was obviously very tolerant. She could even refuse to do the mission. Xiangyi felt that to a certain extent, the system was indulging her. This feeling didn't feel right. The main system had its own set of algorithms. It would maintain fairness to a certain extent, and the subsystem also had a certain degree of freedom. But it wouldn't be biased to this extent. Xiangyi felt that this behavior was very much like compensation. She had almost transmigrated, but there was no record of this matter. The main system was probably hiding something. The only thing Xiangyi could do now was to deal with all changes by sticking to the status quo and slowly coax information out of number 1018. No matter what, this time, she would never let her family get hurt again. The group of younger brothers played until they were covered in sweat. In the end, they really did catch 2 geese. The younger brothers regretted it after they caught it. They thought that Xiangyi was so cute that she would definitely be scared of killing a goose. The lamb said, "The goose is so cute. Why don't we let it go?" Xiangyi said, "The goose is so cute. Why don't we make roast goose?" Xiaoyang. Netizens. I'm going to laugh myself to death in this stream sooner or later. I'm laughing so hard. I feel like my mom is about to beat me up with a feather duster. Sister, broaden your horizons. In addition to roast goose, you can also make beer goose, marinated goose, braised goose, and stewed goose in an iron pot. Thinking of the wonderful taste of the goose stewed in the iron pot last time, Li Jianyu offered to help kill the goose. The viewers in the live stream burst into laughter again. They had seen variety show directors ordering their artists around, but they had never seen a variety show director snatching their artist's work. While waiting for the goose to be dealt with, Logic's brothers discussed what to play. Why don't we play games with Big Sister? Xiangyi was quite interested. Okay. All of a sudden, the younger brothers expressed their opinions. Don't worry. Big Sister, I'll definitely lead the way. Big Sister, I'm here. Just follow behind me when the time comes. Big Sister, don't be afraid. We're all super awesome. Everyone was talking at once, but the question of what game to play became a problem. Xiangyi rummaged through a box of game controllers. How about this? In an instant, the younger brothers were all dumbfounded. Limited edition. They're all limited edition. Chapter 608. As a group of internet addicts, their biggest hobby was to collect all kinds of keyboards, mice, headphones, and game consoles. Even if ordinary game consoles were expensive, they could still buy them. But the box that Xiangyi was carrying was mostly a series that couldn't be bought even if one had the money. By the way, there's also these. Xiangyi flipped through the other boxes, which contained various game cards. There was a period of time when she liked to play video games. Her fourth brother, Xiangyu, gave her a few. Later, her brothers and little uncle each gave her a few more. Needless to say, there were so many game cards There were so many game cards that they were dazzling, causing the younger brothers to start swallowing their saliva. Holy shit, a first-generation magic treasure. Ah. Big sister, are we really able to play? The group of youths looked at Xiangyi anxiously. They were simply weak, helpless, and pitiful. Xiangyi, of course. She generously pushed the box over and let them divide it among themselves. The younger brothers suppressed their excitement and carefully touched their game controllers. Roar. The reaction of the younger brothers made the audience in the live streaming room laugh. Ha ha ha, my little brothers are so cute. I'm a collector, and I'm satisfied with this book. Sister E, I'm just an ordinary rich woman. I took a screenshot and searched for these game controllers. The total price is almost enough for the down payment of a house in a second-tier city. After some careful selection, each of the younger brothers chose a game controller. The game he chose was a classic domestic gunfight game, Lost City. At first, Li Jianyu was worried that it would not be easy to shoot, but he did not expect Xiangyi to take him to the third floor. The entire third floor was opened up. The space was shockingly large, and the lighting was good. It was divided into different areas according to its function, such as the fitness area, the movie viewing area, and the gaming area. There were several large screens for the convenience of the game. He could imagine Xiangyi having fun with her family. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Li Jianyu, was it too late to hug Sister Yi's thigh now? The viewers in the live stream were shocked again. Was this the daily life of Ms. Perfect? Don't mention Shuringdi. They also want to eat Sister Yi's soft rice. Wander plugged in the game card and connected several controllers to the screen. He tilted his head and asked Xiangyi, Sister E, there are 4 professions in Maze Town: sniper, special forces, wizard, and medic. It's almost equal to ranged, melee, sorcerer, and healer. Which one do you want to play? Xiangyi thought for a moment. A nanny. She often played support characters, so she should be able to play them well. In any case, he had always been criticized by Big Brother for his decision-making, second brother for his tactics, third brother for his hand speed, and fourth brother for his operation. As for little uncle, he was so weak that he didn't deserve to be despised. Upon hearing Xiangyi's choice, the esports fans who had rushed over after hearing the news began to curse. Girls are only fit to play support in the first place. Toxic, we only want to watch professional players play games. And a female celebrity play. Okay? She fought Old Wang. And the others? Was she worthy? Does this woman know what the front, back, left, and right attack jump buttons are? In reality, Xiangyu knew his sister's level and did not join in the fun. Instead, he let a substitute player go up. His behavior was inevitably criticized by others. As the exciting music sounded, the game began. Chapter 609. The map of the game was an abandoned city, a bit like the scene after the apocalypse. The gray-toned image was depressing and dark, for figures respawned at the resurrection point. Although the game was a single-player game, the mode was hell-level difficulty. As soon as the 4 stepped out of the resurrection point, they were attacked by monsters. In the early stages of the game, characters didn't have much money to buy equipment and were very fragile, especially the 3 damage output characters. Wander and the others had bought attack equipment according to their habits. This wave of fast and fierce attacks caught the 3 of them a little off guard. Normally, they would never panic because they had absolute confidence in the strength of their support teammates. But now, the support in the team was Sister E. Although they would find her cute no matter how badly she fought, they would feel embarrassed if they couldn't bring her back to the resurrection point. In the early stages of the game, the 3 of them had a lot of drama going on in their minds. Their hands moved swiftly as they killed the monsters, but in their minds, they kept adding scenes to themselves. The monsters approached from afar, and soon they encountered them head-on. Seeing that the team was about to be wiped out, a protective shield was cast on the melee player just in time. The three of them stood in a formation of special forces with the melee player in front and the damage output characters behind. They used the surrounding buildings to block the monsters. The shield offset most of the damage. The moment the shield was broken, the monster's bite landed. But at the same time, whoosh, 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 3 rays of healing light fell on the melee player's head. Every time the healing light flashed, the critical health bar would be restored to full. This repeated 3 times, buying precious time for the damage output to clear most of the monsters. Instant healing. Sistery knew how to do this. Instant healing was a skill that required a lot of skill from the healer in the game. It required the healer to accurately insert healing between a series of damage. If the healer was a second too early, the healer would still have full health, and the skill would be wasted. If the healer was a second too late, the healer would have been killed by the enemy, and there would be no time to save them. Therefore, the healer needed to be familiar with the cooldown time of the skill and be aware of the rhythm of the healing. As for hand speed, it was needless to say. If one's hand was fast or slow, the effect would not be the best. But Sistery did it. Most of the viewers in the live stream didn't understand the game, but they vaguely felt that Xiangyi seemed to be quite powerful. Wow, Sister E is so good at healing. Why do I feel like she knows how to have fun? Xiangyi's luck is so good. She always manages to heal when her HP is low. Some esports fans were unwilling to accept this reality. In their eyes, wasn't this normal? What's the big deal? I can do it with my feet too. Healer only has a few skills. Just press the buttons one by one. Isn't this a very common operation? Isn't it because she's a woman that you're praising her? The game continued. The adventurer team explored the depths of the city, triggering random quests and various battles along the way. Aside from monsters, there were also rebel forces hidden in every corner of the city that would launch sneak attacks on the adventurer team. The soul-stirring battle made everyone break out in a cold sweat. Wasn't this too difficult? If it were an ordinary person, they would have died countless times already. However, other than Xiangyi, who was playing as a healer, everyone else in the party was at full health. Bang! Gunshots rang out, and the team was forced to split up. Xiangyi's nanny was trapped in an alley. Chapter 610. The situation became tense all of a sudden. The long-range and melee mages could still rely on their positioning and brute force to resist, but the healer was trapped in the alley alone and was almost doomed. The stream was filled with mockery and ridicule. The camera gave Xiangyi a close-up. The girl's face was fair and delicate, without a single flaw. Her expression was indifferent and calm, as if she wasn't bothered by this desperate situation at all. In the game, the weak healer was facing 3 enemies. The only lucky thing was that the 3 enemies were special forces and could only use pistols and daggers. Bang, bang, several gunshots rang out, but none of them hit. Perhaps people couldn't dodge bullets in real life, but a game was a game after all. Xiangyi relied on her positioning and managed to dodge the enemy's attack in such a narrow space. Someone exclaimed in the live comments, "This is godly positioning." Godly positioning was the famous positioning of Smog, Encounter. It was changeable and unpredictable, and had given countless opponents headaches. Later, many players in the league tried to imitate it, but most of them could only imitate the surface, but not the essence. That was because this positioning required not only hand speed, but also brain speed. In other words, not only must one's hands be fast, one must also have a good brain. However, Xiangyi actually managed to do it. There was a small uproar in the stream. Sister E is quite something. F***CK. It's such a pity that she didn't go into esports with her talent. My whole family was shocked. I spent a few months in the youth training camp and almost vomited when I practiced this positioning. I didn't expect someone to be able to do it so easily. As for the esports fans who were criticizing her just now, they were also speechless at this moment. Wait, why are you still hiding it so well? Godly positioning. It turns out that a girl can use it so casually. What happened next made these people even more dumbfounded. After the enemies ran out of bullets, they pulled out their daggers and approached the healer from several different angles. Xiangyi pressed the controller and switched to the only weapon the healer could carry, a dagger. The killing power of a dagger was the lowest in May's castle. To give a simple example, a short sword could kill a person with 5 slashes, but a dagger could take 10 slashes or even more. Therefore, in this game, it was very difficult for healers to kill people, so they could only focus on assisting. However, Xiangyi, on the other hand, showed what a close combat healer was. The girl was calm and steady. She controlled the healer in the game to move forward and backward. She flipped and moved, and every attack accurately hit the enemy. The smooth operation was like a feast of art. The aesthetics of violence was vividly and perfectly interpreted at this moment. Shua. One person fell to the ground. It was now 1 versus 2. Swish, swish. The second enemy was also heavily injured and could no longer fight. At this time, the healer's HP was almost empty. Just when everyone thought that there was no hope, Xiangyi calmly cast a few healing skills on herself. The green holy light of healing flickered. Through the screen, the audience could feel the despair of the AI in the game. Why the F***CK is there still blood? Xiangyi, who was full of HP, leisurely killed the third enemy. She neatly put away her dagger and picked up the spoils of war before heading to where her teammates were. Here, these are the things I just picked up. The girl calmly distributed them according to her needs. The boys were speechless. What does it feel like to have a bunch of spoils of war given to you by your sister before you even have time to save her? The audience was completely convinced as they typed on the public screen. Sister E is awesome. Chapter 6:11. The boys accepted the equipment given by Xiangyi with mixed feelings and continued to play the game. The 3 professional players and a fake newbie were no match for them, even in hell mode. A large game over popped up, and the few of them were still a little unsatisfied. That was awesome. Wander sighed. Sister E, have you ever considered playing professionally? From his professional point of view, Xiangyi's skills were definitely not a problem. Although she was 20 years old, it wasn't an absolute obstacle. Wander did it out of love for talent, but he didn't expect that his proposal would cause such a huge uproar in the live stream. The fans naturally laughed and praised her, but some people were very resistant, especially the esports fans who had just been slapped in the face. They couldn't wait to defend the so-called glory of the esports circle. She's just a woman. No matter how good she is, she's still a woman. Not to mention China, there aren't many women in professional teams all over the world. I'm not looking down on women, but women aren't suitable for esports, just like how men aren't suitable for science. The best in all industries are men. If women are really so good, why aren't there any women in the top esports teams in China? When it came to the sensitive topic of gender, the netizens suddenly argued. Xiangyi's reply, however, made people want to slap their thighs and praise her. Wander, are you interested in farming? Wander froze for a moment and smiled. Sister E, you want to poach me? I'm very expensive, but if it's Sister E, I can give you a friendly discount. Xiangyi, sure. If you poach me, I'll give you a 10% discount. The conversation between the two was full of emotional intelligence. Both sides used a joking way to reject Xiangwan. It was a textbook response that could be called a masterpiece. Not far away, Shui heard this and lowered her eyebrows. She smiled and scratched Xiao Naofu's chin. Xiao Naofu bit his fingertips and spat on his hand, but it didn't really use much force. Xiao Naofu had unknowingly slowly accepted Shui, but it refused to admit it. Shui, little fatty, you have quite a temper. Xiao Naofu. Damn you, you're the fat one. You are. Wander saw that the others were eager to give it a try, so he passed the controller to his teammates and asked them to continue playing. He and Xiangyi discussed the controls. Although Xiangyi didn't play many games, her logical thinking was clear and she had a set of tactics. After chatting with her, for a while, Wander felt that he had learned a lot. He sighed and said, looking at the problem from a different perspective, it's really different. He was a melee player, so even as a commander, he could not help but think from the perspective of a melee player. Xiangyi, on the other hand, had an auxiliary mindset and was more attuned to the big picture. Why is Sister E playing support? Don't you feel wronged? Usually, no matter what game it is, the first to die is the support. Xiangyi's answer was simple. It's nothing. Some people like to be heroes, and I think it's good to be the one who claps for heroes. Wander was stunned by this answer. After a long time, he sighed softly, as if he was mocking himself, but also as if he was confiding. Actually, when I was young, my wish was to be a scavenger. At that time, I didn't know anything, so I felt very free. Now that I think about it, isn't it ridiculous? After all, other children's wishes are to be astronauts or scientists. Xiangyi shook her head. No, her tone was sincere. I think every profession and every choice is worthy of respect. Chapter 6:12. Wander looked at her in a daze. He didn't know why, but Xiangyi gave him a trustworthy feeling. That was why he couldn't help but say what was on his mind. He had only said it as a joke. If it were someone else, they might have laughed at him or disdained him. But Xiangyi, she was very serious. She might not be the best communicator, but she was the most gentle listener. No matter what nonsense you said to her, she would listen carefully and give a response. Her knowledge and information density were much higher than ordinary people's. Wander suddenly understood why so many people liked Xiangyi. Only by treating people with your heart could you exchange your heart for theirs. Thank you, Sister E. Wander relaxed a lot. I'm sorry for the choice I didn't make, but I'm also happy for the choice I made. He didn't regret playing esports at all. Although it was tiring and bitter, it was something he loved. No matter how tired he was, it was worth it. Xiangyi smiled. Then congratulations, you're doing what you like to do. Wander scratched his head. Actually, I'm going to retire. When these words came out, the coaches in the base almost vomited blood. They had a hunch that Wander's words would cause a huge commotion in the club. Other than Xiangyu, the most valuable player in logic was Wander. When they heard the word retire, his teammates all looked over. Even Xiangyu, who was usually the coldest, frowned. After all, I'm old, and I have an old injury in my hand. I used to be quite young and frivolous. Now, every time I compete, I'm most worried about whether I'll be a burden to my teammates. I'm old. Wander used to think that he would never talk to anyone about this. He didn't expect to talk so much to Xiangyi, who he had just met. Fate was really magical. Captain, you're not old, you're not old. You're not a burden. You've always been the strongest in my heart. His brothers anxiously spoke and tried to persuade him to stay. Xiangyu pressed down on his black cap and said in a muffled voice, Hey, if you leave, who will I play with? Wander's heart ached. They met when they were 15 years old, and the two of them had been working together for so many years. Their friendship was no longer as simple as teammates and friends. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call them brothers and family members. The viewers in the live stream were also immersed in the sad atmosphere. Old Wang retired. No, Grandpa Qingjia. Wah, I'm crying out loud. Being an esports player is so tough. If he doesn't care about the team, why would he have such thoughts? Wander, sometimes I really hope you can be a little selfish and think more about yourself instead of always thinking about others. Many of Wander's diehard fans were secretly wiping their tears in front of the screen, but they heard the girl's gentle voice. You have a hand injury? Do you mind if I check your pulse? Everyone. Wander was also stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. Sister E, I appreciate your kindness, but even the best physiotherapist abroad said that my hand can't be healed. However, someone told him that if a few of the top Chinese medicine practitioners in the country came out of seclusion, there might still be hope. However, how could a big shot leave the mountain just like that? Xiangyi, can I give it a try? Seeing Xiangyi's insistence, Wander smiled bitterly and couldn't bear to refuse her. Hence, he extended his wrist. Chapter 6:13. She placed her fair and slender fingers on his pulse accurately. This time, it took longer than any of the previous times. Xiangyi's face turned from expressionless to solemn with a frown. The audience who were watching the live stream also got nervous. How is it? Can he be saved? Xiangyi is so young. Are her medical skills reliable? Come on, Wander is an esports player. His hands are precious. Can this woman not mess around? More than 10 minutes later, Xiangyi went through a set of procedures and said softly, Your hands have been suffering from an occupational disease for years. I've thought of a few treatment plans, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait for a while. I need to consult someone else. Wander didn't have much hope in his hands, but he was already very grateful to Xiangyi's words. Thank you very much. It's okay, Sister E. You don't have to force yourself. He thought that Xiangyi's wait was just a polite remark like, let's have dinner together next time. He didn't expect that the next second, she dialed Xiang Yin's number. Wander was dumbfounded. How can I ask that on the spot? The phone rang a few times before it was connected. Ahem, you finally know to call me now? Xiang Yin's tone was rather fierce, and he said, arrogantly, Go ahead, what medical questions do you want to ask? Xiangyi asked, Huh? Grandpa, are you watching my live stream? I heard from Grandma that you often watch it. Xiangyin denied. No. After a pause, he said, awkwardly, I don't watch it often, I just watch it occasionally. Madame Xiang snorted with laughter and said, Little bunny, don't listen to his nonsense. As long as he has nothing to do, he'll watch your live stream. If he doesn't do a live stream, he'll watch your replays. God knows how many times he's watched them. Xiang Yin, who had been exposed, was speechless. Even though they were on the other side of the phone, Xiang Yin still turned away. Xiangyi smiled. The feeling of being silently cared for by her family was especially blissful. Since the patient was of the utmost importance, she got straight to the point and told him about Wander's condition. Xiang Yin was a little embarrassed at first, but as he listened, his attention was completely attracted. He muttered, I think the plans you mentioned are all feasible, but they're not perfect enough. Xiangyi proposed acupuncture, prescriptions, and medicinal cuisine. Although her medical skills were varied, she was still limited by her age and experience. Compared to an experienced physician, her proposals were still a little immature. Xiangyi said coquettishly, Grandpa, what should I do? Can you teach me? Xiang Yin grinned as soon as Little Bunny called him Grandpa. It was better for his granddaughter to call him Grandpa. Sangchen and the other stinking brats would only annoy him. And Xiang Feng was even less of a problem. His son in his old age would most likely be a simpleton. Humph, do you think that just because you call me Grandpa, I will help you come up with ideas? Xiang Yin's words made Wander's heart sink into the abyss. However, he immediately smiled bitterly and comforted himself. She helped him out of kindness, but it was her duty not to help him. He had no right to complain. Some netizens were disappointed, while others were dissatisfied. Xiang Yi's grandfather seems to have a bad temper. Why is Grandpa like this? What's wrong with saving old Wang? Wander is so pitiful. He gave him hope and was disappointed again. While the fans were bawling their eyes out, they heard Xiang Yin's grandfather say the next sentence. Let me tell you, you have to say it twice. Wander was speechless. The fans were speechless. That's it. That's it. Chapter 6:14. Everyone was dumbfounded on the spot. What's wrong? Is the arrogance of the Xiang family hereditary? Ha ha ha, I'm laughing so hard. Is it an obsession of the Xiang family to make sister Yi call Xiang Yi grandpa? Grandpa is so cute. I thought he would ask for anything, but I didn't expect him to just call Xiang Yi grandpa. The only thing I'm concerned about is, what level is Xiang Yi's grandfather at? Can he treat old Wang's hand? If he can't, don't take on such a difficult task. Is your brain unevolved? I suggest you search for the name Xiang Yin. Soon, the live stream was full of exclamation marks. What the heck? What the heck? He's one of the top 10 traditional Chinese medicine doctors of the current generation in Huaxia. He's as miraculous as Hua Tua, a leading figure in the domestic medical field. This big shot is actually Xiang Yi's grandfather. The netizens' jaws dropped in shock. It was mainly because Xiang Yi's grandfather had appeared on the live stream a few times in a very low-key manner and even a little funny. Everyone thought that he was the kind of grandpa next door, who looked serious on the outside, but was actually very funny. They had heard from Xiang Yi that she had learned medicine from Xiang Yi's grandfather since she was a child, but their understanding of Xiang Yi's medical skills was that of an old doctor at a roadside traditional Chinese medicine clinic. Who would have thought that he was such an impressive traditional Chinese medicine practitioner? At the esports base, several coaches of logic had also found out about Xiang Yi's grandfather's true identity, and they were all dumbfounded. After a long silence, the head coach muttered, Wander is so damn lucky. They went to Sister Yi's house as a guest and ended up meeting an immortal. That was even harder than winning 5 million yuan in the lottery. The coaches initially gave the children a day off because they wanted them to have a good rest. However, they went to participate in 2 under 1 roof, and the coaches were rather critical of them. Now, they felt that, well done, well done, well done, well done, in the manner. Xiang Yi's grandfather cleared his throat and generously made a few suggestions, all of which were to improve Xiang Yi's treatment plan. Xiang Yi listened carefully and even took notes with a pen and paper. Xiang Yi's grandfather's mouth was parched, but he still didn't feel satisfied. He simply said, Wait for me, I'll go over now. After saying that, Xiang Yin hung up. At this time, Wander happened to read the contents of the encyclopedia that his teammate passed to him. He was in a daze. The leading figure of Chinese medicine in the country, who even many influential businessmen couldn't invite, was actually coming over to treat his hand. Was he really not dreaming? Xiang Yu whispered, Why didn't you tell me about your hand injury earlier? What's the point of hiding it from us? Wander. I just don't want to cause you trouble. Besides, I didn't know your grandfather was so powerful. Xiao Yang naively said, That's right. Otherwise, Sameo Gu would be able to invite Grandpa over to treat Captain. Wander suddenly asked, Can you invite him? Xiang Yu, that might not be the case. Grandpa would give face to his younger sister, but he might slap them in the face. Time ticked by. After waiting for a long time, Xiang Yin still didn't show up. Some impatient viewers in the live stream couldn't hold it in any longer. Why isn't she here yet? You're not kidding, are you? If she's deliberately trying to make old Wang despair, I'm going to kill Xiang Yi. Ha, Maybe she's just saying that to gain a good reputation. In fact, she won't come at all. Disperse, disperse. It's just a publicity stunt. Chapter 6:15. Even though Spicy Tutu teamed up to defend Xiangyi, there were still more and more voices of doubt. In particular, a few extreme fans of Wander were on the verge of losing control of their emotions when they heard that he was going to retire because of his injury. Now that Xiangyi's grandfather had yet to arrive, they vented all their dissatisfaction on Xiangyi. Bitch, you're in for it if you can't cure old Wang. If Wander retires, I'll be the first to flame you online. If you're really good at medicine, why don't you treat your crippled grandfather? There were also some nasty comments that were blocked as asterisks. Even the passers-by couldn't stand those malicious comments, let alone Spicy Tutu. Some passers-by couldn't stand it and spoke up for Xiangyi, but they were immediately rebuked by the extreme fans. You're trying to prove your innocence. Fans of such a woman, are you fools? I think those treatment plans are just nonsense. That wretched old man is just acting along with her. Get lost, you drama queen. At this moment, a staff member raised his voice. They're here. Mr. Xiang and his friends are here. He deliberately shouted loudly because he saw the comments in the live stream. As soon as he finished speaking, the number of comments in the live stream decreased significantly. The camera panned to the gate, only to see a few cars slowly driving in. The netizens were a little puzzled. Why are there so many cars? Could it be that Xiangyi's grandfather has a special status, so he has more assistants and bodyguards? The extreme fans refused to let go of any opportunity to criticize Xiangyi. What a grand entrance. He's just a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Who knows if he's just fishing for fame? How dare he throw his weight around like a celebrity when he's out? Xiangyi was the first to dash out of the room and scurry towards Xiangyi's car. Xiao Naofu and little Shiji followed closely behind. However, Xiao Naofu was lazy and had short legs. The little kitten was lying on Xiao Naofu's back and was being carried around. In the eyes of the netizens, the kitten and dog were like spirits. The car door opened. Xiangyi's grandfather wasn't that particular. He didn't ask the chauffeur to open the door for him and simply got out of the car. Seeing the little rabbit running towards him like a bright spring day, the old man's lips curled into a smile. When Xiangyi was almost in front of him, his stern and fierce expression returned. Why are you running so fast? Aren't you afraid of falling? Xiangyi ran too fast, and her breathing was slightly irregular. She held her knees and panted. Even though she was reprimanded by her grandfather, her cheeks were still dimpled. When I was young, Grandpa would always pick me up at the door. Now that I've grown up, I have to pick Grandpa up too. The old man was obviously pleased by this sentence. He stroked his beard and looked up at the sky, pretending not to care, but in fact, he was overjoyed. Your grandmother is participating in a square dance competition today, so she didn't come. Xiang Yin glanced at the cars behind and said in displeasure, "Those old fogies insisted on coming. They're so annoying." Like Xiangyi, the netizens were also curious about the identity of the annoying old man that Xiang Yin was referring to. Several old people got out of the car, one by one. They were all familiar figures to Xiangyi. Grandfather Fong, Grandfather Yun, Grandfather Jing. They were none other than the medical experts who had accepted her as their disciples. Elder Fong, the president of the Huaxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association. Elder Yun, the successor of Huichun Hall Medical Hall. Elder Jing, the chief physician of Jishir Hall Medical Hall. Some of the netizens who recognized the identities of these people immediately sat up straight. If an analogy had to be made, the four of them could be considered a gathering of the top celebrities in the entertainment industry. I'm shocked. The most impressive group of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in China is here. Chapter 616. The netizens were completely shocked. In particular, those who studied medicine felt as if their blood was about to boil when they saw this scene. It was no exaggeration to say that even the richest man in the city might not be able to hire the four of them at the same time. However, they actually gathered here today for Xiangyi. Amazing! Amazing! Hearing Xiangyi's call, Elder Fong and the other two looked at her with displeasure. What did you call me? Grandpa? My good disciple, just call me Master. My dear disciple, you don't have to pay attention to those two old fogies. Just call me Master. Xiangyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and she obediently greeted the masters. Seeing that his granddaughter was only talking to the three old men and ignoring him, Xiangyi muttered softly, "Since I'm not welcome here, I'd better leave." Xiangyi hurriedly coaxed him and called him Grandpa sweetly. She even promised to cook his favorite dish, drunken crab. Only then did Xiangyi reluctantly forgive her. Elder Fong and the other two at the side were green with envy. If we hadn't blocked Xiangyi because he kept showing off his granddaughter, we might have taken her as our disciple long ago. It's too late for regrets now. After exchanging pleasantries, the four of them entered the living room. Although they were joking around, they didn't forget to get down to business. Where's the patient? Elder Fong asked. Wander's legs turned a little wobbly when he saw the respected old men. He raised his hand weakly and said, "It's me," for gazes as sharp as lightning suddenly shot towards him. They took Wander's pulse and diagnosed him one by one. Elder Fong stroked his beard and pondered for a moment before looking at Xiangyi. "Disciple, tell us again about the treatment plan that you have thought of." Xiangyi explained it seriously. The few of them frowned and nodded from time to time, making the netizens extremely anxious. Can it be treated or not? Just give him a quick death. Xiangyi is really funny. Why did she say it just because we asked her to? Isn't she showing off in front of an expert? Do you guys really think that Elder Fong and the others accepted Xiangyi as their disciple because of her medical skills? They're just doing Xiangyi a favor. In the living room, after Xiangyi finished speaking, she humbly asked for advice. My treatment plan is still not enough. Masters, please enlighten me. The more one knew, the more ignorant one would feel. Xiangyi was the same. Elder Fong and the others looked at each other and smiled. Regardless of her medical skills, they liked Xiangyi's attitude very much. She was neither arrogant nor rash, and she was dedicated to learning. Moreover, with her talent and strength, she could already be considered as a little miracle doctor. If you ask me, these proposals— Elder Fong purposely kept him in suspense and said something shocking— are better than your grandfather's. Xiangyi was speechless. Nonsense. Hey, old Xiang, don't be in such a hurry to refute. Elder Yun smiled as he stroked his beard, looking like an immortal. Let me ask you a question first. Is it harder to write an article or to change an article? Xiangyi obviously could tell what he meant. He humphed and ignored him. The more Elder Yun stopped making a fuss, the more he spoke. His words made people feel as if they had been sitting in the spring breeze for a month. Naturally, it's to change the article. With your medical skills, it's more than enough to change my beloved disciple's treatment plan. However, can you think of these few plans? Elder Jing chimed in. Admit it, it's the young people's world now. My dear disciple can take over from us old men. Everyone was speechless. Are you guys here to see a doctor or to bootlick sister? Chapter 617. The netizens were in an even more complicated mood. They thought that Mr. Fong and the others would criticize Xiangyi's treatment plan, but to their surprise, they were all praising her. They're even more like her grandfather than Xiangyi. As for those who were criticizing Xiangyi, they were dumbfounded. Isn't Xiangyi relying on the fact that her grandfather is a famous doctor? Why did Mr. Fong and the others praise her so much? Is she really that talented? As for Xiangyin, although he had been criticized, he was grinning from ear to ear. He liked it when others praised his little bunny. Besides, his little bunny was worth it. As her grandfather, he had always been proud of Xiangyi. Of course, despite the praise, the 3 traditional Chinese medicine experts also helped Xiangyi perfect the treatment plan. The location of the 2 acupoints in the acupuncture plan can be adjusted. The herbs in this medicinal cuisine can be replaced with more nourishing ones, but you have to be careful not to use too much nourishment. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand it. I think we can try to fight poison with poison. Isn't this kid a gamer? The sooner he's cured, the sooner he can play computer games. Wander tried to explain. Grandpa Jing, I'm an esports player. What esports? Isn't it just gaming? Yes. Wander smiled awkwardly. Over the years, he had met many people who were prejudiced against the esports industry, so he had long gotten used to it. If he had to prove himself to everyone, it would be too tiring. Some of his extreme fans started criticizing him in the live stream. What does this old man know? Discriminating against esports? What rubbish! This old man doesn't know anything, and yet he's still spouting nonsense. Ridiculous! There was an uproar in the comments section, but in reality, Xiangyi said in a warm voice, Master, esports is different from playing games. Esports uses electronic devices as sports equipment, and it's a form of intellectual competition between people. It's similar to Go and Chinese chess. The General Administration of Sports has officially approved the inclusion of esports as an official sports competition. Wander and his teammates have recently won an international competition. Like other athletes, they have won glory for our country. Wander's heart warmed. So this is how it feels to be protected by someone. Elder Jing was suddenly enlightened. Oh, I see. Elder Yun said, it sounds like a very powerful profession. Elder Fong smiled. Then it looks like we'll have to treat this champion properly. Wander was a little flattered and looked at Xiang Yi with eyes full of gratitude. There was no need for her to say this, but she still explained it for him. It was appropriate and just right. Xiang Yin retorted, Why are you all pretending? You just don't know anything. Elder Fong smiled. You understand? Xiang Yin was speechless. Of course, he didn't understand. However, Xiang Yin said righteously, Our little bunny knows what to do. What I don't understand, our little rabbit will tell me, who asked me to ask, whenever I don't understand. Someone will answer my questions. Old Master Fong's tone was smug, like a kindergarten kid showing off his toys. Fong Lao and the other 2 were envious. Such a good disciple. How good would it have been if he had accepted her a few years ago? Xiangyi blinked and said, How about this? I'll set up a group chat. In the future, you guys can ask me in the group chat if you want to ask about things like online shopping, trending slogans, and so on. After the group chat was set up, Xiangyi added everyone into the group chat one by one. At last, she didn't forget to add Shui. Let me introduce you to my boyfriend. The lively live broadcast room fell into a dead silence for a second. Chapter 6:18. What? Did I hear wrongly? Did Sister E say the word boyfriend? Shocking. Sister E has a boyfriend. I'm so curious about who Sister Yi's boyfriend is. Ha ha ha. Xiang Yin's face turned pale immediately. I feel like he's going to beat someone up with his cane. Shui happened to have gone to the pantry to make tea and was not in the living room. He used his real name on WeChat, and after he was added to the group, Xiang Yin and the others could see it clearly. Old Mr. Fong and the others were fine. Although they felt that it was a pity, they were quite happy for Xiangyi. However, Xiangyin was different. Why did Little Bunny go after a pig? What's so good about Sure Sui? He has a lot of flaws, such as… Xiangyin struggled for a long time, but he couldn't think of any flaws in Sure Sui. Instead, he felt that Sure Sui had always been gentle, restrained, and well-mannered since he was a child. Stop. Xiangyin snapped out of his messy thoughts and gritted his teeth. Little Bunny, how can you fall in love at such a young age? Xiangyi said innocently, Grandpa, I'm already 20 years old. Even at 20 years old, you're still in love. She pursed her lips and continued, but you married Grandma when you were 20 years old. Xiangyin coughed softly. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. At this moment, Sure Sui returned with the tea, which was filled with steam and a faint fragrance. Xiangyin humphed coldly when he saw him. Old Mr. Fong and the others were sizing him up with a mischievous smile. Sure Sui didn't have his cell phone with him, so he had no idea what was going on. After distributing the tea, he naturally sat beside Xiangyi. What's the matter? He asked. Xiangyi blinked and said, I just added my boyfriend to the group. Sure Sui raised his eyebrows and his heart skipped a beat. Her words were extremely ambiguous, and there were already some fans of the untimely couple who were screaming crazily on the bullet screen. Damn it, did I get it? Boyfriend. Is it Shuringdi? Is it… I don't care. I don't care. This is an official announcement. There were also some people who didn't want to believe it. Instead, they sneered. Does Xiangyi have any shame? You already have a boyfriend. Why are you still talking to Shuringdi like that? Sure Sui isn't a good person either. Ha! Men really don't reject women. Don't they think Xiangyi is dirty? Haven't you heard of the couple on set? They were together during filming and immediately broke up after filming. These two were obviously a variety show couple. The day the variety show ends will definitely be the day they cut ties. In the comments, everyone's analysis was clear and logical, as if they were all psychologists and emotional experts, until Sure Sui's deep and magnetic voice spread to every corner of the live broadcast room through the sound receiver. What group? Girlfriend. Boom. It was as if a sudden clap of thunder had struck the ground, deafening everyone. What did Shuringdi say? Were they hallucinating? Why did they hear him call Xiangyi girlfriend? At this moment, whether it was Sure Sui Sis, Spicy Tutu, the untimely couple fans, or even the passers-by, they were all shocked. Countless netizens were sharing the news on various major social media platforms. The Two Under One Roof live stream was instantly flooded with a terrifying amount of traffic. The number of online viewers had tied the previous record and was even on the verge of surpassing it. Li Jianyu and the others were dumbfounded. Wander and the others were dumbfounded. The number of comments in the live stream exploded. Netizens from all over the world came to join in the fun. The entire internet went crazy at this moment. Chapter 619. F***CK. Have you heard? Sure Sui and Xiangyi have officially announced their relationship. Nanny? Sure Sui and Sister E are together. I was dumbfounded. Are these two for real? Oh my God, I got it for real. The number of online viewers in the live stream went from 8 million to 9 million, and then to 10 million. Whoosh. The number of viewers had officially exceeded the 10 million mark, and it was still increasing. This figure was enough to make countless directors, producers, and investors in the industry cry. As for the brands that had sponsored Two Under One Roof and hired Xiangyi to endorse them, the senior executives were all smiling more brightly than flowers. This show was great. Not only was there a steady flow of traffic, but it was also a hot search topic. From time to time, it would become a hit. It was definitely worth it. The brands couldn't wait to transfer more money over. In the living room, after Sure Sui asked, "What's the group? Girlfriend?" Xiangyi generously showed it to Shi Sui. Here, it's the group that joined Grandpa and Master just now. Shi Sui nodded slightly. I'll change the name then. The group name was changed to A Loving Family. The camera happened to take a close-up of her phone and captured the group name. All of a sudden, the netizens expressed, "Are you there? Is Sister E spying on my life?" Ha ha ha! Our group name is the same. It's exactly the same. I love my family requests to fight. The X family will never admit defeat. We're a family. Shi Sui and Sister Yi's child has already learned how to play. In the next second, Shi Sui, who had changed her name, sent a message in the group. Shi Sui, rose handshake and fist salute. Shi Sui, cheers to our friendship. JPG, Shi Sui, let's hold each other's hand on the internet. Cherish this fate. JPG, when the netizens saw this scene, they slowly typed a question mark. Shi Sui, did you just blink when your account was hacked? What the hell is with this middle-aged man style? To their surprise, old Mr. Fong and the others developed a strong interest in Shi Sui's meme. Hey, Shi Sui, why did you send this picture? Little, it seems like you're good at chatting. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Hearing the praises of the 3 Chinese medicine masters, everyone felt a little dazed. Could this be the legendary halo that attracts the elders? Shi Sui warmly explained how to save the stickers and how to send them. He was very patient. Not only did he explain in detail, but he also helped each old man save the stickers and showed them how to send them on the spot. Even Xiang Yin, who was the most arrogant, couldn't help but sneak a few glances at her while silently memorizing the steps. Xiang Xiang, Xiang, Xiang Xiang, 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 Esta Xiang, 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 Shi Sui asked modestly and gently, Grandpa, can I help you save the meme? Xiang Xiang's grandfather's ears twitched, but he retorted fiercely, no need. Shi Sui said, yes, 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 it's not that you need it. I just want to train myself more. Actually, I've only just learned how to send memes. Oh, Xiang Xiang's grandfather glanced at him sideways and asked, so you don't know how to do it either? Yes. Shi Sui smiled a little sheepishly, as if he had just learned how to surf the internet. Xiang Xiang's grandfather finally said benevolently, okay, since you're begging me to save it, I'll reluctantly agree. Chapter 620. Shi Sui looked down and tapped the screen with his slender fingers in a bid to save an emoji for Xiang Yin. He whispered and taught Xiang Yin how to use it. His logic was clear and organized, and Xiang Yin was gradually mesmerized by it. In the live stream, the netizens cheered in unison. Hey, Shi Sui is so good at speaking. Shi Chasheng. He's so good at pleasing the elders. I can't help it. Shi Sui is so good at speaking. I've recorded the screen, and I'm about to forward it to the group chat. After a while, Xiang Yin and the others had all learned how to send emojis. The 4 of them began to compete with each other in the group chat. The few old men, who were about 200 to 300 years old in total, were staring intently at the screen and playing seriously, which was rather hilarious. On the other hand, Shi Sui smirked at Xiangyi from afar. Finally, she gave him a status. Xiangyi made eye contact with him, and there was no need for words between them. They already knew what each other was thinking. The cheerful voice of the system sounded in her mind. Ding! It has been detected that you have completed the hidden task. Official announcement. The following rewards are issued to you. 1,000 points and a plot change card. Xiangyi frowned and asked, plot change card? Yes, you can choose to change a part of the plot of any character in the book. In other words, you can change a person's fate. If it were anyone else, they would probably be unable to resist using such a tempting card. However, Xiangyi simply expressed assent indifferently and said, "Keep it for now." Number 1018 couldn't help but ask, "Host, aren't you going to consider using it? Not only can you change the fate of others, you can also change your own." "Why should I change my fate?" Xiangyi said indifferently. "I don't believe in fate. I only believe in myself." Number 1018 said, "Because in the book, Best Actor of the Entertainment Industry, you don't have a good ending." "Is that so?" Number 1018 said. "You didn't have this authority initially, but I've gotten it for you. Next, I'll unlock your script of fate." With a ding, a large piece of information was transmitted to Xiangyi's mind. In the plot sent by the system, she followed the trajectory of her life and got engaged to someone. In the end, she was betrayed and her family was ruined by her fiancé. Seeing her brothers die in a fire because of her, Xiangyi's fingertips curled up and trembled slightly, but she quickly calmed down. It couldn't be true. Even if she was blinded by love, her brothers would not be so stupid. There must be something wrong with this so-called original work, she asked calmly. "So I have to conquer Shui in order to change my fate." "That's right. Shui is the male lead of this world. He has the halo of a male lead, and the will of this world will side with him unconditionally." Xiangyi looked at Shui thoughtfully. Even if the system had human-like thoughts, it was not a real person after all. It had algorithmic logic. Therefore, as long as they followed the correct path, they could deduce their motives. The clues started to connect, binding the system, conquering Shui, rewriting fate. All of this had something to do with Shui. Maybe the system wasn't targeting her, but it was directed at Shui. Number 1018 was still guiding her patiently. "Host, do you really not want to consider using a card? Or you can use points to exchange for items. I recommend you to use the beautifying filter. It can help you become more beautiful." "No need." Xiangyi coldly refused. "I remember that points can be given away, right? Help me give them to Lingyi." The noisy number 1018 suddenly fell into silence. Chapter 621. Xiangyi narrowed her eyes. "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" After a few seconds, number 1018 politely said, "Host, the Lingyi you're talking about is someone from this world. You need to know his real name before you can give him points." The next second, Xiangyi said, "Suyi?" Number 1018 was shocked. It didn't expect Xiangyi to know Ling Ye's real name. Why would Ling Yi tell her this? It quickly calculated the consequences if Xiangyi knew that Ling Yi had been killed. After thinking for a while, number 1018 finally decided to lie. "Host, the points have been given to you." "Thank you. Please turn on the shielding mode." Am I being despised again? Xiangyi's heart sank after she was done with the test. The prerequisite for giving out points was that the other party's soul had to be alive. However, she couldn't be sure if the system would lie or not. "Sister E, my hand feels much better." Wander's surprised voice pulled Xiangyi back to reality. She calmed herself down and looked at Wander's hand. Just now, Elder Yin gave him a massage. Elder Jing gave him 2 needles, and Elder Fong wrapped him with a wrist guard wrapped with medicinal herbs. He didn't know what was added in it, but it automatically heated up and wrapped around his wrist. In just a short while, Wander already felt that his wrist had recovered. Xiangyi said softly, "It's just a relief, not a cure. I think it'll take a long time for you to be completely healed." Wander became nervous again. He thought it would take 3 to 5 years, or even longer. His career wouldn't last that long. The young girl's face tensed up as she said earnestly, "I'll be able to recover 90% in 3 months." Wander. The other players. Only 3 months. Xiangyi saw that they were all dumbfounded. She thought it was because they thought it was too long. She clenched her fists and said, "Then I'll work harder and strive for 2.5 months? If it's 2 months, I'm afraid it'll be a little difficult, but we can still give it a try." Wander was so happy that he almost fainted. It was as if he had drunk 2 liters of fake wine. It's okay. 3 months is good enough. I can do it. I will cooperate fully." Elder Fong and the others were very pleased. What doctors were most afraid of was not difficult and complicated diseases, but that the patient would not cooperate with them after painstakingly researching a treatment plan. "Young man, don't worry. We'll do our best." Wander was terrified and thanked him profusely. Xiangyi looked at the time. It was almost time for dinner. She stood up and said the original plan was to eat hot pot. "What do you think? Should we hold a vote? Or should I cook a few more dishes?" To others, it was troublesome, but to her, it was sweet as syrup. Everyone said, "No need, no need. Hot pot is fine." Xiangyi nodded. "Then I'll make a few 9-grid dishes and prepare more ingredients. Everyone can cook whatever you want." Just as she was about to enter the kitchen, she was stopped by Elder Fong and the others. Elder Fong said, "Disciple, I've asked someone to cook some bird's nest. Drink it first." Elder Yun said, "My dear disciple, it's been hard on you. Come, I brought you some supplements. You can eat them when you have nothing to do." Elder Jing secretly cursed the 2 old men for secretly sending gifts. He refused to admit defeat and said, "I've also prepared some herbs for you. You can use them to make wine or medicine." The netizens were confused. Why did these old men look more and more like kindergartners competing with each other? Chapter 622. Xiang Yin was displeased to hear that. He took out a card from his pocket and said, "Recording shows every day is tiring. Give yourself a day off, and don't come back until you've spent all the money on this card." The netizens were dumbfounded. When can I have such a simple and unpretentious grandfather? Indeed, regardless of gender, age, or gender, they all look so handsome when they take out their cards. I'm so envious of Sister E. She has her brother doting on her grandfather doting on her, and a few big bosses as her masters. Don't forget that she has an award-winning boyfriend. Asterisk smile, asterisk smile, asterisk. Xiangyi had no choice but to drink the bird's nest soup from Old Master Fong and accept the gifts from Old Master Yun and Old Master Jing, as well as the black and gold card from Old Master Fong. She entered the kitchen, and Shi Sui followed her. The number of viewers, which had initially stagnated, began to rise again. The 2 of them were in the same room. Wow! Li Jianyu personally went to the kitchen to film. Although he had long expected it, he was still so excited that his hands trembled a little when he heard that Sister E and Shi Sui were really together. It took him a long time to calm down. "I'll prepare the soup base first. I'll wash and peel the vegetables then. Be careful with your hands." The interaction between the 2 of them was beyond many people's expectations. It wasn't that grand. On the contrary, they were like an old couple, plain yet warm. Xiangyi would help Shi Sui put on a cute lace apron, while Shi Sui would lower his head and carefully roll up Xiangyi's sleeves for her. He even helped her tie her hair into 2 buns. "I look like Neza," Xiangyi said as she turned her head. Shi Sui pinched her left bun and said, "You're very cute." Such a simple daily interaction caused the netizens to flood the screen with comments. "She's so sweet, I'm dying of sweetness." "Head-pressing team, move out." "Kiss. Kiss her." "Shi Sui, can you do it? Do you think I'm lacking in popularity? Give me something that's not suitable for children, okay?" The 2 of them went to prepare the ingredients separately and occasionally communicated with each other. They didn't talk much, but they didn't feel awkward. It was a very comfortable way of getting along. However, Li Jianyu did not let the 2 of them off and conducted a short interview. She asked Xiangyi first. How is Sister Yi feeling right now? Xiangyi's answer could be said to be a straightforward woman. I'm going to eat hot pot. I'm happy. Li Jianyu. And, after all, sure sway. And I have already made our relationship public. The girl raised her head and solemnly promised the camera, I will treat him well and spoil him like a little prince. Uffed. Why do I feel like Sister Yi took the male lead script? Li Jianyu laughed out loud. Most of the viewers in the bullet screen were overwhelmed by the sweetness, but a small number of sure sway sisters couldn't accept the reality. I'm no longer a fan. I can't be a fan anymore. I'm too tired. Hee hee, such a bootlicker? That's true. If she didn't lick Shuringdi's boots, why would he care about her? Looks like the vase fairy is taking the initiative. It's easy for a girl to chase a guy. Shuringdi is just interested in her for a while. He'll kick her away sooner or later. It was Li Jianyu's turn to interview Sure Sway. Daddy Sure, is there anything you'd like to say? Sure Sway was peeling potatoes with a peeler. His slender and fair hands were like a work of art, but at this moment, they were stained with the aura of the mortal world. Peeling potatoes is much more difficult than acting. Li Jianyu. Birds of a feather flock together. How does it feel to have an official announcement with Sister Yi? The man had an excellent sense of the camera. He raised his eyes and smiled with his peach blossom eyes, looking affectionate and affectionate. Thank you, Sister Yi, for finally giving me a proper status. Hello, everyone. I'm actor Sure Sway. Me too. I'm Xiangyi's boyfriend, Sure Sway. Chapter 623. This smile really gave off a feeling that the surrounding scenery was full of color and fragrance. It was breathtaking and mesmerizing. It was a powerful and shocking blow to the heart. The netizens seemed to have gone crazy as they flooded the screen with comments. Hee 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 hee. Give birth to a child soon and have a blissful marriage for 100 years. Shuringdi's attitude. So it's not a woman chasing a man, but a man chasing a woman. Are you there? When will Sister Yi give me a status too? I'm willing to be one of the 3,000 beauties in your harem. Not to mention the netizens. Even Li Jianyu's hand, which was holding the camera, couldn't help but tremble. Coquettish, too coquettish. As expected of my daddy, sure. He teased. Ha ha ha, Daddy, you'll probably have a new name in the future. Sister Yi's boyfriend. Xiangyi put down the peppercorns in her hand, turned her face, and said seriously, Sure Sway is Sure Sway, and he is him. Li Jianyu was stunned. Wan Qing chimed in time and said in an elegant and intellectual female voice, That's right, Sure Sway is still Sure Sway, and Sister Yi is still Sister Yi. What has changed is that I and you have become we. Sure Sway chuckled. Yes, it's we. The tips of Xiangyi's ears were a little red. She tried to cover up her embarrassment by pouring the peppercorns. However, the girl who could toss an iron pot of dozens of kilograms without trembling had accidentally poured too much peppercorns. She pretended as if nothing had happened and scooped out the extra peppercorns, but this scene did not escape the eyes of the netizens. Look at Sister Yi's ears. They're red. My heart is melting. Why is my daughter so cute even when she's shy? Wow, whose voice is that? It sounds so good, actually. I know Director Lee doesn't mean any harm, but that female voice just now seemed to have sublimated the concept. At this moment, Muyao TV, the executives gathered in the conference room. They didn't want to admit it, but they had to. They were witnessing the birth of a miracle. The number of online viewers of Two Under One Roof had already exceeded 13 million. Not only was such a figure unprecedented, it was almost certain that it would be difficult to surpass it in the future. So Li Jianyu was from Muyao TV. Wan Qing was also from Muyao TV. If they had stayed, wouldn't this glory belong to the TV tower? Unfortunately, there were no ifs in this world. The numbers in the live stream were still rising, but the executives in the conference room were not happy. Especially after hearing Wan Qing's words, many people secretly acknowledged her ability. Speaking of which, although Wan Qing is a woman, she is indeed quite capable. Once she left, she took a lot of our connections with her. Several of our collaborations with Nanching TV have been suspended. They said that they will only recognize her, and not anyone else. I agreed to Li Jianyu's proposal back then. Sigh, it's such a pity. Who asked some people to cause our TV station to suffer so much for their own selfish interests. Where there were workplaces, there were often factions. Muyao TV was the same. Several factions fought with each other and finally focused their firepower on a certain minister. It was he who rejected Li Jianyu's proposal and instructed Director Chen to plagiarize Li Jianyu's show. Unfortunately, whether it was the heartbeat signal or eating well for all 3 meals, they were just imitations that made a fool of themselves. You can write your resignation letter now. Chapter 624. No, the man's face was ashen, but he knew that in a sense, his career had come to an end. And all of this was because he had dug his own grave. He looked at the station head with resentment. The station head was clearly at fault too, so why was he the only one who left? Some people were also secretly dissatisfied. Li Jianyu's matter was still acceptable, but Wan Qing's departure could be said to be all because of the station head. Did he not have to pay any price? The next second, the door of the conference room was pushed open. It was a notice from the higher-ups. Content. The station head of Muyao Satellite TV station will be replaced. In an instant, there was an uproar. The station head, who had just fired someone else, was stunned. He never expected that he would be fired too. At the manor, the preparation of the hot pot might be difficult for others, but for Xiangyi, it was like a fish in water. Firstly, Little Rabbit Farm was rich in produce. Secondly, Xiangyi had all the seasonings that could be bought on the market. Thirdly, there was soup stock at home, which did not lose out to the taste of the old restaurants. Soon, Xiangyi prepared a few large pots of soup base. In the double-sided pot, there was beef chili and tomato soup. In the 4-square grid, there were wild mushrooms, seafood, green pepper chili, and clear soup. As for the 9-square grid, it was a traditional Sichuan-style spicy pot. It followed the principle of same base with different fire, same soup without oil. The temperature of each pot was different. The middle grid had a strong fire, which was suitable for cooking crispy and easy to cook food. The cross grid had a weaker fire, but the fire was even, which was suitable for cooking food that needed to be heated for a long time. The 4-square grid had a mild fire, which was suitable for slow stewing, which made the food soft and glutinous. The younger members of Team Logic took the initiative to help clear out a few tables. There were many people today, but their ages varied. Xiangyi did not force everyone to sit at the same table. Instead, she let everyone choose according to their preferences. In the end, a few of the younger members chose the 9-square grid. The youths were not particular about it. They sat cross-legged around the coffee table, sweating from the hot pot. The others chose the double-sided pot and sat at the table by the floor-to-ceiling window. There was the scenery outside, and inside there was the company of friends as well as Director Li, who had sneaked in to freeload, the netizens complained. They had never seen a director who could eat so much. Are you here to film a variety show or to eat? On the other hand, Xiangyi, old Mr. Fang, Grandpa, and the others ate 4 servings of food. Sure Sui accompanied them the entire time and didn't eat much himself. Instead, he was like a waiter, silently cooking for everyone at the table. In the beginning, everyone thought that hot pot was all about the atmosphere and not the taste. But when the cooked ingredients entered the mouth, F***CK, This mutton was too tender and fresh. Why was this tripe so crispy and smooth? And this black-bone chicken roll, after soaking in the wild mushroom soup, it's so fragrant. In addition, the sesame sauce was fragrant, but not greasy. The cha-cha sauce was sweet, spicy, and salty, and the chili powder was spicy and delicious. Xiangyi had even prepared a few secret seasonings. It was delicious even when it was dipped in plain water, not to mention when it was paired with such delicious soup base and ingredients. 2. Good. Eat. Yes. The younger brothers moved their chopsticks like the wind, and Director Li snatched the food even faster. As soon as the ingredients were cooked, they were immediately divided up. Even though Grandpa Fong and the others were experienced and knowledgeable, they were still convinced by Xiangyi's hot pot. Elder Yun said, "My beloved disciple, why don't you come back with me? I can teach you medical skills." Elder Jing said, "My good disciple, ignore him. How can I let you run